Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very different type of stream than I've ever done on my channel before. This is going to be a lot of fun. Welcome to the first roundtable discussion. And sorry about no music on the countdown. I had to throw it together last minute, and I totally forgot to add music to it because
I was thinking that too. Whenever I just saw the countdown, you
as
could
soon as I
even
hit
done it
play,
like
I was
as a
waiting for the
Metroid,
music.
Metroid music for the countdown.
yeah, because I had to throw this room together in Restream Studio, and it didn't take any of the stuff that I have in any of my other rooms, so I had to throw it together, and I forgot to add the music, so I was like, well, too late. So, but hello, everyone. Welcome to a roundtable discussion about Metroid Prime 4. It has had a lot of controversy, basically since when I would say the controversy really started when the motorcycle was revealed. That's kind of where it appeared for me. And so we're here to talk about everything in between, from the highs, the lows, what we liked, what we didn't like.
Let's just say the motorcycle is a very good foreshadowing of my all of my problems with the game.
Okay. So we were supposed to have four, and our fourth panelist, he's welcome if he he remembers that we were having the stream tonight, but we'll go ahead and go on.
For him, it's the morning.
So we got my achievement chasing co-host here, as always, my good buddy Dude 1286. Good evening, Dude. How are you?
Doing pretty good.
Glad you could join us for this.
I've stayed away from all reviews on this game, so all of my thoughts are myself.
And I think were you the one that suggested this idea? I think you were the one that put it on my radar, and you're like, "Hey, we should do just a roundtable discussion about it." I'm like, "That's a great idea." So I think it's Dude's fault that we're doing the stream tonight, and I say fault very lovingly because this is gonna be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. So.
Yeah.
And then we have Jay Bongo joining us, who is
also my fault that we did it an hour early too.
That's true.
Sorry for
it was originally scheduled for 45 minutes from now, but we bumped it up to accommodate Dude. We got Jay Bongo joining us as well tonight, who is also a big fan of the Metroid franchise and a recent friend of the channel. And I've had a great time chatting with him the couple times he's been on. I'm just glad he was able to join us as well. So welcome. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I'm ready. I've been playing this game during all my game playtime for the last couple weeks, so I'm ready to talk about it. Like a lot of thoughts.
So Jay Bongo's streams are very difficult to catch because for me they're like when I'm going to bed, which is about like 3 a.m. but he's East Coast, so it's like 6 a.m. So he's just getting up. So I'm going to bed. I'm like, hey, good night, and he's like, oh, I'm already up for the day.
Yeah.
So I'm
still asleep for like I'm still asleep until then, and then I'm usually on the road because I have to go to work.
Yeah. So I've caught bits and pieces of his streams, but it's been a little while. So I believe maybe just within the last day or two, you finished it on hard mode. Is that correct?
No, I'm almost done with hard mode.
Almost done. Okay.
I finished my first playthrough, and then I immediately kicked it up again on hard mode because just wanted that experience. So maybe another day or two, I'll be done with it. I'm just collecting everything at this point. I've got everything, all the main story parts in play. So
I thought about doing that, but then I remembered eventually this game's going to get on retro achievements, so I'll wait until it gets on retro achievements.
In about 20 years.
Eventually.
To be honest, they've been adding them a lot faster than consoles are coming out. So.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
Last year they added GameCube. This year they're adding Wii, although that's a bit easier because it's the same emulator. But
it's almost been 2 years because GameCube was 2024.
Well, I mean, even if it is every 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, after GameCube, they really only have Xbox, 3DS.
There's not as many consoles because a lot of the consoles after that generation all had achievements built in. So
I mean, I think that some of them still want to do 360 and PS3 because some of those games did not have good lists.
Yeah.
Or didn't have lists at all because PS3 didn't have it at the beginning.
Yeah, some of the early PS3 games. They're saying, hey, guys, good evening, Nightmare. He had quite a fun stream this afternoon over on his channel talking. Well, I'm not even going to tell you what the topic was because it was gross, but it was hilarious.
I've sadly already heard that one because I've already watched the original reaction.
And we got Crazy Landlow in chat as well saying, what's up? Good to see you guys tonight. And we're about to get into a very autistic detailed discussion about Metroid Prime 4. But before we do, I got a couple of little intro questions for each of us on the panel. We're each going to give a little brief background on our history with Metroid. What's your favorite game in the Metroid franchise? And then overall, what is your overall like mental view of this game, whether you have a more positive or more negative, of Metroid Prime 4. So I'll go ahead and start. So brief background for me for Metroid is I think the first Metroid I ever played was when I discovered emulation in like the late 2000s. And one of the first games I tried on, I think it was the Z SNES emulator. And I tried out Super Metroid, and I played for like a little bit, and I was like, "This is cool," but I never actually played through the entirety of the game until many years later. But what really got me into the franchise was the dual release of Metroid Prime and Metroid Fusion. I don't remember if I both on launch day. I know I got Metroid. I'm almost positive I got Metroid Prime on launch day, and I think I got Metroid Fusion very shortly thereafter. And from there, I was like hooked on the franchise. And once I became like huge into the Metroidvania genre, within the last like 5 or 6 years, then I really got hooked on all the games. I mean, I played all the Metroid Prime games as they came out, but I've since gone back and played all the mainline games. The only ones I haven't played are basically the offshoots like Federation Force and Prime Pinball. And the only one that I haven't finished was Hunters on the DS. I have it. I just never could figure out where to go. So I played all of them now. But yeah, I basically started with Prime and Fusion and fell in love with the franchise there. So my favorite game in the Metroid franchise is Prime Remastered, because Prime was already, Prime 1 and 2 were like neck and neck for my favorite, but when Prime Remastered came out with the modern controls, that took the cake for me. In addition to some of the other quality of life improvements, like the better graphics and the added spring ball was really nice. But all it needed was the modern controls, and it just
spring ball was added in the Wii version, though.
I have not played that one. So I guess
it wasn't a remastered edition. It was a trilogy edition.
True. Yeah. I haven't played the Wii one, like though.
The Wiimote.
The Wiimote one. So
although whenever you do play through Prime 1 and 2 on the Wii, I would still suggest changing the lock mode to making it so that it centers the controller, unlike how in 3 where you can move it.
You have to lock, because you can lock it, but you can still shoot around them.
Yeah, so. But those first 2 games are not designed with that in mind, so it makes it much harder.
Yeah,
so than it needs to be.
Yeah, so Prime Remastered is my favorite by far. It's my 3rd favorite game of all time. I love that game. And then overall for Metroid Prime 4, I'd say I'm kind of in the middle, but if I had to pick between more positive towards it or more negative, I would say more negative towards it. But we'll get into why that is. So let's go with Jay Bongo. So give us a little bit of brief history of your experience with the franchise, your favorite game, and then your mental image of Prime 4.
Yeah. So my first Metroid game was Metroid 2 for the Game Boy.
I just beat that again a week or so ago, getting the last retro achievement. So I now have mastered it.
Which was developed by me.
Dude broke the achievement set for Prime Metroid 2.
Metroid 1 and Metroid 2.
That's right, 1 and 2.
I can't remember exactly how old I was, but I was definitely too young to like figure it out. And I remember very clearly like picking it up again later, a few years, and then actually beating it. So I did beat it when I was young, and then I went straight to Super Metroid. I actually never played through the first one from all the way through.
Ever?
So that's where I got my start with Metroid. My favorite one is probably Prime. I would say Prime Remastered. I guess
regarding the original Metroid, you never played it ever?
No, never played the NES one. I mean, I played it, but I haven't like played through it.
Okay, because I just played it for the first time about this time last year.
Oh, okay. And then as for my overall view of Prime 4, definitely more negative view, some wasted opportunity. And, I'll just leave it at that for now.
That
we'll
works.
get into the details later.
And what about you, dude?
For me, whenever I was still like in elementary school, the neighbor kid had like all the Metroids at that time, which was the first 3. I never played his Game Boy game, but because his mom was me and my brother's babysitter, and they had the NES hooked up to the TV in the room we wouldn't normally stay in. I would sometimes play the original Metroid there, but I would never be able to get through it all. But I was able to borrow his Super Metroid because my parents still had a Super Nintendo at their house, and that's the one I can still play on today. But
Still got
so
mine
I
as
was able
well.
to play through Super Metroid that way, and I did have to give it back. So I never had a Metroid until Metroid Prime came out, and I got that one for Christmas, and
Okay.
I adored it. And pretty much after that, I pretty much have had every Metroid since, and have played through them. I mean, I even played Hunters online.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
you
Jeez,
were
that's
telling me about
hardcore.
that.
Yeah, but that game is definitely better with the stylus because of the way that game's designed.
Interesting.
Yeah, there is
Never
an
played that one.
emulator that maps all of the touchscreen controls to button prompts, but you can't also do it for retro achievements, which is
Yeah.
my issue. It's like I can do one or the other, but not both.
Luckily, you don't have to play against other players. You just have to play against AI for that one, so it's not too bad.
Oh,
But
You could
do
play it online
multiplayer.
if you wanted to, right?
you
Or
could, yeah.
it
But
is.
if they do that, it's gonna be like a bonus set. It's a subset. It'd be a subset if they did online multiplayer.
Oh yeah,
achievements.
I wasn't even just talking about the achievements. I was just saying,
Yeah.
is it still possible to play against other people?
Well, no, because those achievements are just specifically designed against bots.
No, I'm not. It's just ignoring achievements. It's still possible to play the
Yes.
game online.
Yes,
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
but of course, it's through fan servers. So
Okay,
but
yeah.
not through
play
official
through.
ones.
I pretty much played through all of them except for Prime Federation Force and Pinball.
Okay, I do plan to play those at some point. I just haven't gotten.
Whenever 3DS gets supported on retro achievements, I'll finally go through Federation Force.
Exactly.
I have a funny feeling that game's more hated because of
When it
came out than anything else, because there's a similar game in Zelda. They came out around the same time, but because Zelda has a game coming out like every year, nobody really batted an eye whenever that game came out. That was Triforce Heroes.
Oh, Triforce Heroes. I also think people were turned off by the art style.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said,
Federation Force.
it was still similar to what like A Link Between Worlds was, and and all that. So it wasn't like that weird, but it's just because you could do dress up with Link. I think that was the thing that people didn't like as much. But I think the outfits did give you ability, so it was like that was that game's gimmick. Outside of the 3-player co-op.
Never played that one.
I haven't either, but like I said, it would probably be fun when you're playing with friends, just like Federation Force. It's just that Federation Force had the bad opportunity of coming out at like a couple years after Other M, where everyone was like, Metroid's dead.
Soured on Metroid.
It looks like a pretty fun game. It's just like you have to go into it like this is not a Metroid game. It's just another game in the same universe.
Well, it's a Metroid spin-off.
Yeah. So,
but of course, my favorite game is definitely Prime 1.
Okay. Yeah, well, I
am a defender of the tank controls from the original release.
Yeah, I know. I played it not as many. I always say I've played through it many times, nowhere near as many times as Dude has. But it's like I've beaten it many times. But if you give me modern controls or those classic tank controls, like I'll take modern like every day. So
I mean, I was able to get the speedrun achievement on retro achievements the first time I played the game.
Yeah,
and I wasn't even really trying for it.
But yeah, I don't know because I haven't asked anyone, and I don't really say it either. But I think we're all pretty close in age, which I think would be why we are all are big fans of Prime.
We're old.
Definitely Super Metroid is my second favorite game in the series.
So, and then what is your overall?
I think I'm generally in the positive for Prime 4.
Okay,
interesting.
So, all right.
I think I've stated quite a few times. I'm probably the only defender on the panel.
So it does some things great and it does other things terrible. So we're about to get into that here in just a moment. Got a couple other faces showing up in chat. See, Tim Bongiovanni. I think I've seen you once before. So welcome. Glad to see you again, Tim. Welcome to our Metroid Prime 4 roundtable discussion. And Rinsler, haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're doing well. And welcome. And Crazy Landlord says, I've rented the OG Prime 1 and loved it. Awesome. Played Dread and really liked it. Haven't finished Super Metroid yet or Prime Remastered. Okay. Yep. Get to it. Good. But, there are only 2 games in the franchise that I say are bad. And I'm not going to tell you which ones those are yet. We'll find out. I may mention
was that including
I'm pretty sure the 2 I think
I am talking about the not the spin-offs, so not counting Pinball and Federation Force.
And to be honest, I've heard people who like pinball games that Metroid Prime Pinball is a good game. So
It could be.
So if you like pinball
like
games,
pinball
Metroid Prime
games.
Pinball is a good one.
So, all right.
It's not designed as a Metroid game, so I don't. That's why I don't really fault it for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, we are going to go ahead and get into the nitty gritty here. And with that, I want to do something here. Let's go with this one. And so we're going to go through a number of the aspects of the game. We're going to try to keep on topic to one aspect at a time and talk about what we did and didn't like about it and give it that aspect of the game a out of 10 rating. So I figured we kind of start towards the ones that I think are going to be a little bit quicker, and then towards the later aspects we cover will be the ones that'll probably be more discussion involved. So I figured we start off talking about the graphics. So I'll go ahead and start this one again. The graphics, I played it. Oh, that's a good question. I played it on Switch 1 because I don't have a Switch 2. What did you guys play it on? Okay, so Bongo and I played it on Switch 1. Dude played it on Switch 2. So I played Switch 1. I was blown away by how good this game looked for a Switch 1 game running on nearly 10-year-old hardware.
Well, you have to remember it was also originally designed as a Switch 1 game, so it probably makes sense that it works well.
That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was very impressed by how pretty it looked, how buttery smooth it ran. I played the entire game on stream, and I don't think I ever had any frame drops. I didn't have any performance issues. I don't remember. I didn't write this, but you could also incorporate this if you want to. I don't think I ran into any bugs where I ever got stuck or glitched or enemies didn't spawn or anything. The only time I got stuck was because of my own, I couldn't figure out what to do. But I was very impressed on how good this game looked for, how old the hardware is. So if I had to give it like an out of 10 rating, I would probably say like a 9. It looked very pretty, and I have not looked to see on YouTube to see like a side-by-side comparison between like Switch 1 and Switch 2. So I don't know how much better the Switch 2 version looks. I have no idea, but for running it on a Switch 1, I was highly impressed. So what do you know what? Let's go with J Bongo since he also played it on Switch 1, and then we'll go with Dude since he played on Switch 2.
I'd give it a 9 as well. I was really impressed with the graphics. The only I just this morning I saw one enemy clip through a ledge. That was the only glitch.
I mean, I'm pretty sure some speedrunner has found a trick for that in the original games too.
I'm sure speedrunners will always find all the glitches that ever existed in games. But that was the only glitch. There's the loading times on the Switch 1 are pretty long.
That is, I forgot.
But is that really a graphics question? That's not really.
No, it's not. But you did bring it up, like the difference between the Switch 1 and Switch 2. So I was like, I'm going to throw that out there. I'm not faulting the game for that.
That is a good point. I should have written graphics / performance because that is when it comes to that aspect of the game, that is my biggest issue. The load times were terrible.
Yeah, and it was pretty noticeable when you get off of the transport thingy, then you leave, and then there's another loading screen of Samus walking. I
ranted about that almost every time on my stream.
Yeah, I was streaming while I was doing it, so I was also kind of like talking at the same time. So they seemed faster, but maybe I would have noticed it more. I noticed it while I played on stream, but maybe when I was by myself, I'd be like, "Wow, this is pretty long, like 2-3 minutes long." At times, but
when I was watching in Black Belt on his stream, it definitely felt really long. But then again, I'm playing it on the Switch 2, and that's one of the benefits of playing on the Switch 2 is it loads so much faster.
Right.
Yeah, I would love to see a comparison of like they doing the exact same transitions and how long it takes on each hardware.
I think on Switch 1, a 35 seconds load, and on Switch 1 took like 5 seconds on Switch 2.
Yeah, it's noticeable, but it's not like I didn't see any performance issues as well, and I played it docked, and so it was. I think the game looks fantastic. I think it definitely the art direction fits with the Metroid Prime art style from the previous 3 games. Sad I can't say that for all the other categories, but the arts it looks like a Metroid Prime game. I'll give it that.
Yes, I agree. It let's see here. Did I Oh yeah, we'll talk about that one later. But yeah, that is one thing that I forgot to mention. But yeah, the load times were terrible. They took forever. I was doing it on stream, and one thing that was really annoying is when you go from Soul Valley, you have to go through like a cutscene into like an elevator, and then an elevator cutscene goes immediately into like either a hallway or the like when you're going to the ice place, you have to take that like tram across. Like, why do you have to have one and then the others? Like, just make it one transition. Why do we have to go into one long transition immediately into another long transition? It's like, just make it one transition, so I don't have to wait twice.
I mean, my guess is they couldn't. That was the.
And
only
it's also
way
funny. The
they
Fury
could make
Green
it all
transition
fit.
is her running.
Yeah,
down a long hallway.
That was probably the only way they could make it look so good and also run.
Yeah.
One of the other things that I mentioned on my stream was the Fury Green. You have that cannon that launches you back and forth.
Yep.
And it's like that if you're in a cannon thing that launches you like that, because you can see the tree off in the distance. It's like if you were actually in that thing for as long as the load time took, you would so overshoot that tree. But then there's another way you can get back, which I didn't realize until really late in the game. There's actually a hallway you walk through, and it does a running transition. It's like if it took that long in the cannon to get there, I would be running for like days to get between these locations. So obviously that's not how long it would take in real time.
Samus has a speed booster in those cutscenes.
Yeah. If
Only
it was
in those cutscenes.
In real life, obviously it wouldn't take that long on either of those transitions. But if you were to, the actual time of the load times, it's like the load times don't match up with the amount of traversal that you're going across. So
yeah.
All right, so dude, what about you? What is your opinion on the graphics and performance?
I'm pretty much at the same place, like 9.5. Again, it looks really great, and the art design definitely feels like a Metroid Prime game. My biggest complaint is this is going to be returning constantly throughout this entire night. I'm not the biggest fan of the way the desert looks. It just looks so bland. And that was something that everyone saw whenever the first trailer showed the desert.
Yep.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
See, I put it on the background here. It's
We'll
talk more about that aspect of the game in a little later. But
it definitely was the worst looking part because like the ice area, it definitely felt it. You could feel the coldness through the art direction and the graphics. And same thing with whenever you're in the volcano. With how it felt, you could feel the heat.
Yep.
That this is not exactly related to Prime 4 since you have a power suit. So even if you were to go in ice water, it wouldn't really affect you. But I always feel really bad in games when you have to have your character jump in the water and you're like in the Arctic. It's like I don't want my character to go in the ice water because that would be like a death sentence.
Meanwhile, obviously, 7 Days to Die literally has an achievement for you doing that.
Yeah, most games it doesn't affect you, the character, at all. But some games, like survival ones, it will kill you.
There was no water in this game.
Yeah,
I
hadn't thought about that until just now.
There's only lava. Same. Interesting. Was there water in Prime 3? I haven't played it in a while.
I don't think there was.
I just played through Prime 3 a couple months ago.
Prime 1 and 2 definitely.
The closest thing Prime 3 has is the acid rain.
Yeah, there's no underwater segments in Prime 3 either. I don't think there were. So I didn't think about that until just now either.
I think this is going to be a recurring theme whenever we start getting to those points. But a lot of my complaints with Prime 4 repeat to Prime 3. Like there's no underwater section in here. Well, Prime 3 did that too.
Yeah.
So
not that I don't have a problem with that.
I mean, to be honest, it kind of feels weird since it's been around since the third game. And almost every game it has an underwater section.
Yeah.
Like even Samus Returns added in a water section for Metroid 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the only version of Metroid 2 I haven't played yet. Because I did play the original, but
But AM2R doesn't have achievements.
I know. I so wish it could, but it's not a ROM hack. It's a fan game, so no achievements for it. But yeah,
you are talking to two achievement hunters, so
AM2R. AM2R does have some underwater, but there's no gravity suit because you're not actually slowed down by the underwater.
Yeah.
So I see Snap is in chat saying hello, everyone. Been a while since I've been on a Neo stream. Good to see you, Snap. Hope you're doing well tonight, buddy. So I just got a message from our fourth panelist. He will be joining us here in just a minute. So I was trying to stall a little bit so we could get his input on this topic before we move on to the next one. But I think we'll just have to move on here unless anyone has anything else to mention about graphics or performance. And then we'll just have him catch up on our topics once he joins us.
No, but I think this is the best looking Switch 2 game from Nintendo right now.
Okay.
I have played Mario Kart World, and I've seen the gameplay for Donkey Kong and Kirby Air Riders. They're okay, but I just think this game just looks gorgeous.
Well, I think it's kind of like the Nintendo sticking with the stylized graphics rather than like real ultra realism, which like it gives the games more longevity, I think, when it comes to how you can compare, because you still can't compare Metroid to like Metroid Prime 4 to like I'm trying to think of another game that used photorealistic graphics like Resident Evil 7 or something like that. But it's not really fair to compare the two because it's stylized graphics versus non-stylized graphics. So,
but I mean, even then, Prime 1 was trying to go for that realism at the time, and it's the GameCube version still looks good.
Yes, yeah, it does.
I mean, it didn't really need the remaster like a lot of other games do, but that game still looked great on GameCube. Same with Prime 2 and Prime 3.
Yeah, when I heard that Prime 1 was getting a remaster, I'm like, why would you need it? I mean, it does look great.
I mean, to be honest, the main reason why you need it is so that you can resell it.
Yeah.
Make more money off of it. Yeah. But like, why would I was like, and for $40, I was like, that's a ripoff. I didn't buy Prime Remastered. I bought my Switch secondhand, and they had Prime Remastered, so I got a 2-for-1 essentially.
Wow.
But then when I played it, I was like, I'd probably be okay with paying $40 for this.
My biggest problem with Prime Remastered though is that since I was using a GameCube controller, because I have the adapter for the Smash Brothers for Smash Brothers, so I was using an original GameCube controller to play a remastered game on Switch that was originally a GameCube game.
Yeah.
But my biggest problem is that they did still have the original way of playing the game, which was like the original tank controls, but they had no way of switching X and Y because the game thinks that the GameCube controller is like Pro Controller at that point.
Oh, okay.
So because of that, whenever they swapped the X and Y buttons around for the Pro Controller, it messed me up whenever I was playing through the game on the Switch.
Especially with how many times you played it. Like, talk about like trying to retrain your muscle memory.
Yeah. Exactly.
I did not even think about that. That makes sense.
And that's just a simple toggle that they could have added into the menu, saying, "Hey, do you want to swap it so it's original controls?"
Button controls, yeah.
Yeah. Even if you had the new controls for like a normal FPS, you'd still probably want to switch the controls.
Yeah, every game should have the ability to remap the controls. I hate, it's still so random. Still so rare that games do it. It's nice when you have it at like a system level. Like Xbox has the accessories app, and you can go remap your controller. It makes it confusing. I've done that for a couple games like Dark Souls, and then it's telling you to push one button, and I push that button, but I have it mapped to something else, so it does a different function. It's funny when that happens. Or I've had a game where QTE, I'm like, I'm pressing the button. I'm like, oh, that's right.
You can't blame the game. You can't blame the game on that. That's on you.
No, I know that that is on me, but I like having that as an option.
I know you like to blame Dark Souls on everything.
Not Dark Souls' fault. I wish they really had the ability to. This is probably getting ahead of myself, but I really wish there was a dedicated missile fire button in Prime 4. I really wanted that. It was really hard.
My biggest hurdle for the controls for this game was definitely coming from the Prime 1 and Prime 2 control scheme, because I kept trying to use the controller the same way, like because they still have it, so you can press A for the beam shot and Y for the missiles.
Yeah,
but A and B for the shoot and jump. I don't think the Y was used for missiles, but
I think for me
because
the right bumper.
Yeah, but because of that, I kept for the first couple areas, I kept on still trying to use A and B to shoot. When this game is definitely designed with using the shoulder buttons for it.
Yeah. Yep.
because I was missing um the sidestep animation a lot whenever I was trying to do it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, well, that's the effect of Halo on every first-person shooter.
Yep.
Until the end of time, we'll always have the same control scheme, more or less.
Sadly, Halo is great, but not every game needs the same control scheme.
Yeah. So when a game itself has the remap option built in, that's even better because then you don't have to remap the controller. So I did that with a game I just played within the last week or two, and I was able to remap the buttons in the game. So even though I switched the buttons, when it gives me like, hey, press this button to do this function, I didn't have to figure out in my head that it's actually a different button. It just shows you the button on screen for whatever you remapped it to. So that's nice when it's got that. So, but still few games have that. So, yeah. So Snaps is funny enough. I haven't played Prime for it. Assume there will be spoilers. There will be
eventually.
Yes.
Eventually, probably we'll get through like 3 or 4 categories before we start getting into story spoilers. So you could probably stick around for a while before anything gets spoiled. So
spoiler: the final boss dies. Maybe.
In the same way that the $70 price tag turned me off from picking this up as well. Understandable as the whole open world segment. So we are definitely going to be talking about that. So, all right. Well, I stalled long enough, so we'll go ahead and move on to.
You said he'll be in here in a few minutes, but
that was already a few minutes ago. So we'll go ahead and let him catch up once he joins the panel. Oh, and look at that! Literally, as I say that, because he has a video going live right now. And I just got gifted a membership to his channel. It's got notifications so. But we'll go ahead and move on to our next topic, and then we'll let him catch up with his thoughts on what we've talked about so far once he joins us. So as we go through topics, I'm going to switch backgrounds here. So, and this one actually works well with our next topic because, in my opinion, this area has the best. And our next topic on the agenda is music in the game.
We can also just go with sound design in general too.
Sound design, yeah. We'll just talk about like the whole audio aspect of the game in general. So, J-Pong, why don't you kick us off with this topic?
Yeah. Okay. I thought it was good. Felt like Metroid, which I think it's worth saying that at this point, and even with the art direction, like in my head when I think about this game, I'm trying to separate like, does this fit with the other Metroid games versus is this like a good game? It's okay to separate those two. So as far as like sound design goes, I think it both has good sound design and it fits well with the Metroid vibe. I personally thought the track sounded cool. There was no real standout tracks. Like there are some games you play and you're like, man, I really want that OST. And this one, it did the job. It got the atmosphere for me. I wasn't a fan of like the distortion sounds that they threw in the Silux fights. I liked my brother's a sound engineer, and he pointed out to me that the grievers, whenever they get close to you, the sound starts to distort to kind of signify you're in a fight again, but it's like seamless. It kind of like flows in.
Kind of like what Doom, the new Dooms have pretty much done with their music.
Yeah. Or like even Breath of the Wild did a lot of that too, with like
the transition from like the ambient music to the combat music.
Yeah, or just like ambient music to more ambient music. they did that as well. But overall, I thought it was well done. I don't have any complaints about it. Just it was better than Dread for sure.
Okay, I would agree with that.
And did have a very atmospheric feel to it, which I think is what you need in a game like this. So,
what would you give it out of 10?
I don't know, 8 or 9, maybe. Okay. I don't know. Maybe 8 to save it for how my enthusiasm about it.
Yeah, I would, if I had to give it out of 10, I'd probably say like an 8.5. I thought the music was great, and it was one of let's see here, looking at here. There he is. What the lowest expectations? You got a lot of humming background noise.
Who's gonna get the lowest score?
You there?
Good morning. Why is there a bunch of background noise? There shouldn't be.
Yeah, I hear some humming coming from your end.
Hold on. Let me
I don't hear any
Let me dip
humming.
out real quick.
Okay. But I'll go ahead and continue on. I think probably the music is probably the best aspect of the game, in my opinion. I think it gets the feel of Metroid, at least the Metroid Prime games, better than any of the other aspects of the game. From basically minute one, I was like, well, I don't really remember the music of the intro section of the prologue, but I remember as soon as we got to Vuros and or more so Fury Green, I was like, this absolutely feels like Metroid Prime music. I thought the music throughout the whole game was really good. My favorite is Volt Forge. I love the guitar tracks in Volt Forge. It was awesome. It's like I would listen to that song on repeat. So I would probably, I think it said probably like 8.5 or 9 out of 10 for the music in this game. I think that was like the part that they nailed the most accurate to the feel of the franchise. My biggest issue with the music is the lack of it in the Soul Valley.
You just gotta buy an amiibo, man. Come on.
So,
or beat the game.
Or beat
He's
the game.
back. Let's
No,
see.
I heard that. Wait, is that true?
Yes.
Like,
I'm going to talk about that in just a moment.
I've been
That's just
going through hard mode without.
I think
without
that's
any
just
music.
Nintendo. I think that's just Nintendo telling Retro Studios, okay, we made these amiibos for this game. Give them a reason to actually have the amiibos, and they just did that because it's like they were just given a request on the spot.
So, all right, Lois, your audio sounds good. I'm not hearing any buzzing, but yeah. So the music was really great. Because I'd mentioned the lack of music in Soul Valley, and someone's like, no, what you're hearing isn't exactly true. So I did some research today to figure out exactly what the details of it are. And there is very slight ambient music in the desert. It's like barely noticeable, though.
It's just like wind.
Yeah, it basically sounds like wind. And there's two ways to get the music. One is you buy the $30 amiibo. I don't remember which one it is because there's 3 or 4 amiibos for this game. But
I own the amiibos, but I'm not taking them out of the boxes because they're my NRFB collection.
Understandable. And when you do the amiibo, it gives you kind of like a GTA style like radio selector. You can select the track you want. So I don't even know if there actually is dedicated Soul Valley music or it just allows you to select other tracks in the game to listen to while you're in Soul Valley. The other thing is you can unlock it. And I believe that maybe one of you guys will have to correct me, but I already forgot the details on this, but I did look it up today. And yes, you can unlock it through gameplay, but I believe that the only way to unlock it through gameplay is 100% completion of both collectibles and scans.
That's
so
not worth it.
What's the point of you have to do literally every single thing in the game to unlock the music, and it only is beneficial if you do another playthrough. At that point, there's not really any reason to do another playthrough. So they royally screwed up, especially when they took they'd mentioned this before the game came out, that the Soul Valley, the inspiration for it is Hyrule Field from Ocarina of Time. Yeah, that is one of the greatest parts of Hyrule Field. The music in Hyrule Field is phenomenal and totally sets the tone of the game. They totally butchered that in this game. They could have had fantastic music that kind of sets the tone of the game, and they just butchered it. And there's essentially no music in Soul Valley, and you have to go through. You spend a lot of time in Soul Valley, so I mark major points off of that. Everything else in the game is great for the music, but the Soul Valley is just a huge disappointment. So
yep, it definitely is.
Yep.
And even forgot that you can connect different outside areas to each other, even in Ocarina of Time did that.
That's what I will be talking about later on one of our other aspects.
That's definitely one of my bigger complaints too.
So, Lois, since you just joined us, right now we are on the music aspect, and then after we finish up the music aspect, we'll go ahead and get your thoughts on the earlier topics that we already talked through real quick. So, but go ahead and let us know what your thoughts are on the music of Prime 4.
Well, before I say that, can I give a shout out real quick?
Yeah, sure.
I was premiering my 2025 video right now, and somebody dropped 10 gifted memberships. I just want to say thank you to Trunks0404. He gave 10 memberships. Thank you, boy.
Okay, shout out to Trunks, because right before you join, it says you got a gifted subscription or gifted membership to Lowest Expectations. I'm like, oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So I got one of those 10. So shout out to Trunks. So
hey, I did not expect that, but here we go. As for the music, though, I actually don't have much of an opinion on it because when I was playing the game, I was streaming it, so I couldn't really hear most of it. The TV that I use when I'm streaming console games has like the worst speakers possible, so I couldn't hear much of the music.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. Well, we'll go back to you and we'll get your thoughts on the previous stuff after we wrap up the music discussion. So, all right. So I gave it, I think like a 8 point. I'll go ahead and say 8.5 out of 10 for the music. I think Jay Bongo said 8 probably, or did you say 8 or 9?
Yeah,
Somewhere in there.
It's all right.
Dude, what are your thoughts on the music for the game?
I mean, it's pretty much everyone's saying the same thing I'm saying. I give it a 9. Like you said, the only real complaint is Soul Valley is just kind of barren. Going to be repeating that quite a bit, but everything else fit with the area. It felt Metroid Prime-y, and definitely Volt Forge definitely was a really great track.
Yeah. So
yeah, from what I do remember of the music, though, I thought it was pretty good.
And then I didn't mention it either, but just because I wrote down music, but it's music and audio / sound design. So the sound design was also great. All the sound effects and all the creatures and you know, your missiles and your upgrades and your abilities. I thought that all was also very in line with the Prime game. So I'd probably say, audio, like for the sound effects and stuff, 9.5 if not 10. Like it all sounded great, and I thought it fit perfect. With the music side of things, just the lack of music in Soul Valley and what it takes to unlock it without spending $30 extra is just a travesty. So all right, any other thoughts on music and sound design?
Music and sound design, while they are important and they can help make a game, music, sound design, and visuals are important, and they can help make a game iconic, but they can't save a game.
Very well put.
There's one thing.
Yes.
There's one thing that I thought was kind of weird. When they changed the way Samus vocalizes getting hit is way different from previous games. I thought that was strange.
It's way more intense, I think.
And it doesn't sound like her.
I do know.
Do they use a different voice actress?
Yes, I do. I was just going to say, I heard that they use a different voice actor. I want to say Jennifer Hale either was or she is now. But I know
is that them trying to give her more speaking roles in the future?
She's had plenty of those. Prime 4.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought.
There's only one game that Samus really has a speaking role in, and not many people like that one. But that was just because of the direction that game went in.
Okay. Voice actor was Aaron Yvette, taking over from Jennifer Hale, who voiced her in the original Prime trilogy. So I didn't even know that until just like recently. I was like, Jennifer Hale voiced her in all 3 Prime games, and I didn't know this.
Who voiced her in Dread? I'm curious. I guess
probably the same person for Prime 4, because they might be trying to centralize it.
A quick Google search is saying Nikki Garcia.
Okay, never mind.
So yeah,
I mean, she really only had one line, and it was in Chazodian.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Yeah, it was. I'm going to do the job.
Yeah.
I was going to say something that's not really. It is sound, but it's more story related. So I'll talk about that when we get down to the story topic. So. Oh yeah, exactly. Craig Landlow is saying the same thing as Dude, saying that she spoke like one line, but it was in a cutscene and it was in Chozo.
And then in the final cutscene, she kind of yelled a lot.
She did
a lot of grunting, kind of like Link.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah.
Oh no, that yelling was more like Goku and Vegeta. And
much more so than that. So, all right. Well, before we move on to our next topic, now that Lois was able to join us, get a quick rundown of the stuff that we missed since he joined us late. So, Lois, a couple things that give us a brief background of your history with the Metroid franchise. What's your favorite game in the franchise, and then what is your overall positive or negative, high level view of Prime 4, in general?
So the first one I ever played was probably Metroid 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never beat it though. I played it on like my relative's Game Boy, and that was probably back when I was like, I had to have been like 4 or 5 years old, so I didn't really get it.
Sounds exactly like how Jay Bongo answered this
Yeah, that was
question.
my experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really get it until I tried out Super Metroid on the Super Nintendo. And then
Okay.
once I played that game, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm hooked. I need more.
Excellent. So, which one is your favorite in the franchise?
Super Metroid still.
Metroid. Okay.
Nice.
And then, yeah, go ahead.
The funny thing about Metroid 2, I actually didn't beat it until like 30 years later.
I only played it for the first time last year, so both Metroid 1 and 2, because Metroid is my second favorite franchise of all time behind Mass Effect.
Mhm.
And I was like, I owe it to myself. I got to play the original Metroid and Metroid 2. I never played those ones, and so I played them both last year for the first time.
Yeah, I tried Metroid 1 as well. I dropped that. I dropped that game like
It's painful.
It was a hot potato.
It's painful.
It's not a good game.
Oh
If
man.
I've played 3 different versions
Shots
of it
fired.
now. The best version so far is the Game Boy Advance Classic NES series. That is the best version.
I think the one I tried it on, it was on the Game Boy Advance. It was like an unlockable in one of the Game Boy Advance games, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It is
yeah,
unlockable
sure.
within Metroid Zero Mission.
Yeah, that's
I've not
probably where
played
I
that
tried it.
version yet. So I've played the original NES version, the Game Boy Advance Classic NES version, and I've played the unlockable version in Metroid Prime by linking it with Metroid Fusion, and that is the worst version.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
I forgot you could do that.
no, I would still say it's a toss up between the original NES version and the GameCube version. They're both not great. The Game Boy Advance version, classic NES version, is the best of those 3. I haven't played the Zero Mission unlockable one yet, though, so I can't say on that one. So, and then
yeah, so I think the only one of the Prime games that I haven't played are like the spin-offs on the DS.
okay,
So the Pinball
Hunters
and
and
Hunters.
Pinball.
Yeah.
so and then lastly, what is your overall high level opinion of Prime 4? Are you more positive or negative towards it?
Well, when I was playing it, I was like pretty neutral, and then when that ending hit, negative.
All right. Well, we'll get into more detail on that as we get through here. And then the first topic that we talked about was graphics and performance. So if you had to rate, give it. Oh, what did you play it on?
Switch 1.
Switch 1. Okay. So Dude's the only one that played it on Switch 2. But what are your thoughts? If you rank it give it a out of 10 on the graphics and performance, and why that is your rating?
Well, if I'm rating it as a Switch game, I would give it like a 9 out of 10. Because the performance is like, from what I remember, there's only a few frame drops in the entire game. It's like close to 60, if not at 60 for almost the entire game. And the graphics look pretty impressive for a Switch 1 game.
Yep. That was our consensus.
Reminds you
as
of the
well.
wizardry that they did on the GameCube.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, all right. So, and we see Brett joined us. Hello, Brett. I haven't seen you in a while. Says Chow's premiere just wrapped up. I will be checking that out after the stream. But thanks for joining us. So, all right.
Yeah,
now
I forgot this was starting an hour early, so I set my video premiere to end right now, basically.
yeah, I saw that.
So, whoops.
Oops.
So, all right. Well, now we're all caught up. Unless there's any other performance and graphics things you wanted to mention before we move on to our next aspect of the game.
I don't think so.
All right.
Pretty much everything just looks good. So
Yeah. We're very impressed by how smoothly it runs on such old hardware. So, all right. For our next aspect of the game that we're going to be talking about, and I think this one might be a little bit longer. Let's go ahead and go back to the one we were on, because that's part of the big issue with this aspect is, although you're not really going to see it that much, map design. Lois, since you just joined us, you want to go ahead and kick us off on your thoughts on the map design and giving us your rating out of 10?
3 out of 10.
What's that?
3 out of 10.
3 out of 10. All right. And why is that?
If we're talking like map design, like each zone of the game, right?
Yep. Just in its entirety, each aspect.
Right.
Whatever
So
however you want to
each
describe
zone
it.
in the game is extremely boring in my opinion, except for like the ice region. I thought like because everything feels like you're just going on a straight line through everything.
Just because you are.
Yeah, you are. And so it doesn't feel like I'm exploring around very much or playing it like I would play a Metroid game usually. The ice region I give an exception to because you get to a certain part and then everything like goes crazy and then you go back through it and everything's different. So
Yeah.
I liked that, but that's also like it feels like they just ripped off part of Prime 1 because the ice region in that game does kind of the same thing in a small part of it. When
Oh
the
yeah, the pirate labs.
the pirate
yeah,
lab.
Oh,
the
yeah,
Pirate
yeah.
Lab. Yeah.
Although it's as intent. To be honest, it does it a little bit differently because in this game, it's kind of quiet. It's really quiet on the way in, but on the way out, it's super loud.
Yeah.
Really loud.
Meanwhile, while you're in the pirate labs and Fendrana Drifts, there is no real quiet time. You're always getting ambushed throughout the entire time you're there.
Yeah, and then you get to that lab and the power goes out and then everything's like, oh crap.
But now you got thermal visor.
Yeah, you get the thermal
Yep.
visor.
I think if I had to pick the what is it, the Volt Forge?
Hmm.
So I liked the way that place looked. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But getting through that place is such a tedious slog that it was annoying. You just go, you go from one tower to the next. You get through the tower, and then you go back up, and then you get through the other tower. You go back up, and it's like, come on, man. It felt like there was
But
a
on
lot
return
of
visits, they did give you ways to make it easier on next playthroughs through the forge.
You mean
Yeah.
when you return later in the game?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can get through it a
All the
little bit
elevators
quicker.
they added
Elevators are
that you
on
had
and
to
stuff.
turn on,
You could
On
like
the
go
way
around
back
the
up.
outside of the.
and then also that, yeah.
So, the map design, in my opinion, is the worst aspect of the game and my biggest issue with it. Because one of the things about Metroid games, just Metroid games in general, not even just the Prime games, is interconnectivity, and this had zero of that. It really is like the Soul Valley is the you cannot get from one area to the other without driving through Soul Valley. There's no interconnectivity from one area to the other, no hidden secret tunnels that connect them. Just that alone would have bumped it up a lot for me. And yeah, each of the individual areas are incredibly linear, if not the most linear of any Metroid game, much less the Prime games. Yeah, you basically just go to probably Volt Forge is probably the least linear since there's 3 separate towers, but there's not even a way to get from at least no. Is there a way to get from what? Oh, I lost dude there for a moment. It was doing that on Party Chat the other night. I don't know why.
I don't know why it just kicked me out for a
Yeah,
moment.
bump me up.
It did that on Party
Now
Chat.
pushed
the
me
other
back
night
up to where I was.
But
But then swap them back over. So we're back in the right spots.
All right. But remind me, is there a way, are there any shortcuts from one tower to the other without having to go all the way back up to the top and ride the motorcycle to get to another tower?
Yeah, at the bottom there are.
Okay.
There's a psychic boost ball.
That's what I
rail
was
and you
thinking.
can, like swing across. You have to do it
Yep.
that way, I think, at one point.
So that's
I
probably
think
the most
maybe.
interconnected area. But yeah, all the areas are incredibly linear. And there's no way to connect from one area to the other without going back into the Soul Valley and driving there. They had an easy fix for that, given that you have this cannon that launches you back and forth between Fury Green and Soul Valley. Why don't they have a cannon at each area? And once you get to it, you unlock it, and then you can just use the cannon to get across the different areas without having to drive across the valley every single time. That would have been a super easy fix since it's already in the game. So that's another thing that was just
Definitely
awful about it.
That would have been real nice for the lava region.
Yeah,
especially when you're going back and trying to.
Yes.
Yeah, but that was an intentional decision by them not to do that. And
exactly.
I don't know.
And from what I've heard from
for the
from
life
everything
of
that's
me,
been coming out, that's a lot of that's from the Bandai Namco build that they couldn't.
I thought I was under the impression that everything got scrapped and they started over from scratch. So is that not
from what
true?
from what I've been hearing recently, they not everything was scrapped, and that
They
there
did
has been
reuse
some
some?
things. And from what I've heard, I think some of these things were Ken Takanabe's
a lot
decisions.
of it. Yeah, there. So
And
you guys are
luckily now
familiar-
he's apparently leaving Nintendo soon.
yeah,
And
he
let's just
stepped
say
down.
there's a lot of franchises in Nintendo that do not like him. Like Paper Mario fans hate him because he's the reason why Color Splashes exists the way it does.
So the Nintendo Dream Magazine. If you guys are familiar with Zeltroid, his channel, he just did a breakdown of this article that came out that interviewed him, and pretty much all the major issues that people are complaining about were his direct decisions in the game. I'll mention some of them when it's my turn to dive into that, but I hate to say it because he gave us Link's Awakening, he gave us Link to the Past,
But he's also been the
talking
one
about
that's been adding more and more of the Galactic Federation into every Metroid
exactly,
game,
yeah.
which I don't hate that much as long as they do the map design correctly,
Yeah.
which Prime 2 still did.
Yeah,
If you notice, I did put Prime 3 in that list.
Yeah, and there were the Halo guys. Crazy Lane, I think, mentioned 343 Halo devs were worked on it, but from what I've seen, from what I've read, they only had like art design. They didn't.
And from what I've heard, 343 took
out.
some Prime art design people anyway, so it was probably just them coming back.
Yeah,
I did not know that there was any not directly 343 involvement, but people from 343. I didn't know that.
But I think it's
Not know
because
they worked
some of
on
the
this.
people from the original Retro Studios went to 343. And then maybe those
okay.
same people
And then they
came
came
back
back.
to Retro.
Oh, they went to 343 and then came back.
Yeah, probably. Because
Gotcha.
ever since Tropical Freeze, Retro Studios has been more of a support studio until this game.
yeah.
So, but yeah, the map design is, in my opinion, the worst part of this game. On that Zeltroid video, or I don't know if it was that same Zeltroid video, but he put one out yesterday. He did like an hour-long one, and his pinned comment was like, "What's the number one thing you would change?" I wrote map design.
Yeah,
because that, in my opinion, is the thing that makes this the least Metroid of definitely the Metroid Prime games, in my opinion. The other ones that are probably the next most linear one is probably Metroid 2. But not necessarily that linearity is necessarily a bad thing, but the fact that there's like no interconnectivity between any of the other aspects, especially when you had such an easy way to even just fast travel with the cannon, and they didn't do that. I'd probably give the map design like a 2 out of 10. It was just huge disappointment. So
Let me go first.
All right. I was like, who wants to go next?
I think I'd probably give it the highest, but I'm only going to give it about a 5. And I'm actually someone who actually does not like Prime 3's map design, because I felt like it was going in the same direction as this game was. And it did it in a lot more less interesting ways, because there weren't a lot of rooms in that game where there are like multiple doors. It was only like 2 doors or dead ends in that game, it felt like. So it felt like Prime 4 was a continuation of what Prime 3 was doing with map design. It's just that the only interconnectivity was the landing pads. So it was deceptively a little bit. It felt very linear, but it wasn't quite as linear as this game. But because there isn't that interconnectivity with the other sections, it wasn't that much. But what I do say is I do actually like what they did with the linearity in this game a bit, especially with the ice area and I do like what they did in the volcano area, and also the mines. I really like the way that they handled that mines area, because the ice area, as you're going through it the first time, it feels like you're putting pieces of a puzzle together throughout that entire time you're going down. And of course, when you're coming back up, all hell breaks loose because everything's waking
from
up.
a story point perspective?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what about when you say you liked the linearity, like what do you mean by that? Can you just expound upon that?
I think of course the ice area is not as linear as the rest of the areas, because you can go through those puzzle sections at your own pace pretty much, and I did like the idea behind that. because you're trying to find pieces of DNA for the door, and then so, and of course, as you're coming back out, you have to go through different sections of the area because things break down. And when it comes to the volcano area, the only linear section. I mean, whenever you got to the point where you're with the two soldiers there, I kind of wish there was a bit more action in that area instead of just like kind of like just going to 3 different areas just to do the same, just to do two things and then you do a boss battle with them. I kind of would have preferred a little bit more action in that area, but then that's what the mines ended up doing, where it kind of felt like a melding of a Metroid game with like a Halo game.
Yeah,
and I didn't mind, and I actually kind of like that for one area, and with it being the mines and it being towards the end of the game, it kind of felt pretty cool doing that, where you had each of the friendly NPCs except for Miles in a section with you, and you were doing trying to get deeper into the mines. It definitely felt like an interesting way of it just felt different in a way that it was enjoyable into my opinion. That's why I kind of like the mines with it being linear as it is.
One thing I forgot to mention that would also go into this is that I do give it props for, is not so much the map design, obviously, but the art design of each of the areas I thought was done well. I think all the areas look pretty cool. So I will give it credit for looking cool. But yeah, the design of how things are laid out, I just think is terrible.
But like I said, if it was just if it was just one of these sections that was linear and the rest of the game was like a normal Metroid game, I would have put way higher points on this. Because if it was just the mines area that was the linear section, and it had that play style still, I definitely would still would have put it up higher, because all the other sections have been like a Metroidvania. Because every Metroidvania still has like that one linear section.
Yeah.
So with how that section was played through the first time you went through, it was pretty cool. And also something I didn't realize until like after I used a couple missiles is during that section where you're in the deeper part of the mine. If you use missiles, more enemies start spawning.
Yes,
that was a pretty cool idea.
Yeah, it's the sound draws them to you.
Yes,
it's a cool idea. I just wish missiles were more
useful.
Yeah, they
pack more. I didn't really use missiles that much. I didn't even use the elemental beams that much in normal. I'm pretty sure if I played on hard, they would be more useful, but
they are, but especially in the mines part, the twice upgraded thunder shot is like essential. Getting through that.
That seems pretty useful.
Unleash your inner Palpatine and just fry everything.
But that's part of the reason. But the fact that Prime 3 it felt so linear is the reason why I don't chop off as many points for Prime 4. It's because it felt like it was going in this direction.
Right.
That's understandable. I just remembered something that I talked about when I was on stream with this is because they, before the game came out, they announced the motorcycle and the Hyrule Field inspiration for the Soul Valley being like the overworld, which doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, because like I use Metroid Fusion as a great example. You basically have the overworld, which is the main station where you start out, and then you have each of the individual sections down below. But the thing is that not only can you go up the elevator, back to the overworld essentially, and then down another elevator, get to another area, but every single one of those 1 through 6 habitats have a bunch of branching pathways that connect to other ones, which this game didn't have. So if they added some sort of connectivity between the different areas, and you actually had to travel back and forth between them to continue your progress, rather than having to go back to the beginning, use your motorcycle, drive across the empty valley to get somewhere else, then go get whatever you need, and then like come back the exact same way you came, it just would have made it would have. That's the biggest thing that it's missing, in my opinion, to feel like a Metroid game.
And your cannon idea would still make the mines isolated because it's underground. You couldn't really do a cannon into the mines.
Yeah, like I'm just talking about like using the cannon just basically to bypass the Soul Valley. You can still go through Soul Valley if you want to, but it would be nice to have the option where you just pick which point you want to go to and you launch to. Well, actually, it would be a 2-for-1, so you wouldn't have to transition to the entrance and then take another transition. It would take you right into the beginning of that other area. So like Volt Forge, you go down that hallway on your motorcycle, so the cannon would just launch you to the the far end of that hallway.
Yep. And also another thing is that Ocarina of Time had interconnectivity because you could go from Zora's Domain to Hyrule,
Yeah,
Lake Hylia, and you could also go from Gerudo Valley to Lake Hylia, and from the Lost Woods you can go to you could go to the Goron Village, and you could go to Zora's Domain.
Yeah, a bunch of those little shortcuts. Exactly, something like that would have, I think, greatly improved the map design.
So Ocarina of Time still had the interconnectivity.
It did.
What if
like I said, I like the idea what they did with linear sections. I just wish there was less of them in one game.
Yeah.
What if I said Ocarina of Time is a better Metroidvania than Metroid Prime 4?
That's an interesting proposition. I would have to think about that because a lot of people are like, oh, well, Zelda games are Metroidvanias. It's like they're Metroidvania-esque, but this one.
They share a lot of elements.
They do share a lot of elements.
To think about.
This one felt more like a Zelda game than a Metroid game.
Exactly, because my main
argument, I would agree with that. Actually,
everyone says that Zelda games are Metroidvania games. Like, no, because Metroid games typically you go to an area and you get an ability, and then you can use that ability somewhere else. But in Zelda games, it's that area is a dungeon, and once you have that ability, you can do everything in that area. You never need to come back. Metroid games, you have to come back to these areas repeatedly sometimes. Zelda games typically don't do that. So saying that this is more, this is definitely more of a Zelda game, which was also part of their inspiration.
Yeah,
absolutely makes perfect sense.
Like compare the complexity of the dungeons in Ocarina of Time to the complexity of the 4 areas. Here.
Oh yeah, the dungeons in Ocarina of Time are way less linear.
Exactly. Like there's no reason why each area had basically the same format. You go in, you do the thing, and you come right back out. Like
the way you came.
There's no reason they should have done that, and they could have made there was a progression. As Dude said, there's a progression throughout the Prime series of how they're segmenting the worlds, which, or the areas of the game. Prime 2 did it a little bit, but it still had the Aegon.
It had the interconnectivity in the way that it was still very enjoyable because it had the main hub and then it had the 3 smaller sections around it, but you could still go to the other 2 sections from that one.
Right, and so they could have even done the Metroid Fusion route, where each area of the space station was its own self-contained Metroidvania area. I don't understand why they couldn't have done that with the 4 areas. They all, especially on my second playthrough, they all feel the same. That's I can get into more of my own thoughts once my turn.
Well, go for it.
Oh, okay. I'm going to give it a 2. I was going to give it a 3, but then today when I watched that video, Tanabe really wanted the motorcycle.
It's really cool. It just doesn't belong.
Yeah, I like it. It looks cool. It's designed cool. Whatever.
It wouldn't be so bad if it didn't hurt the map design as much as it does.
Well, the thing is, so he intentionally, and this is him, he's quoted saying this, is that if you compare Breath of the Wild, for example, which not really fair, but in Breath of the Wild, if you get to a high point, an intentional game design thing they do is that there's at least 3 points of interests you can see at all times. If you get to a relatively high point and you can see the horizon, that's to encourage exploration. Tanabe mentioned that in the article, in the interview, and said he specifically didn't want that. He wants players to go right through the desert to their next objective.
Then why create the desert?
What?
Then why create the desert?
Exactly.
Right. Which he wanted, but it's almost like everyone else's other least favorite aspect was collecting the green crystals. The only if they put in fast travel, people would have immediately started using that. And then at the end of the game, they're like, wait a minute, I got to collect all these crystals. Whereas if you jet through the desert many times collecting these crystals, which still doesn't net you nearly what you need by the time you actually need to start doing it. And they're capped. You can't get them all at once at the beginning, which
I don't think the crystals even should have been in the game to begin with.
They shouldn't have been.
Anyway, like the desert was too sparse. There was no mystery to it whatsoever. I was really looking forward to that level of like when I played Breath of the Wild and getting into that area. Like, I know it's not a fair comparison, but even Ocarina of Time coming out into Hyrule Field, like, you got the castle, there's Lon Lon Ranch. You get up, and then you see the forests. Then there's things. It's smaller because
you can see the mountain.
Hardware. You can see the mountain. Like, it inspires you to go and explore. This is more like there's very little points of interest. There's only the green crystals, and as soon as you get out there, Miles tells you exactly where to go. And it's almost like they don't want you to explore.
That's my only really big complaint about the NPCs is that they have to tell you where to go.
Yes, I felt like I was being treated like a child.
We'll get into that on our next topic.
That's another one. But okay, map design wise, I give it a 2. I think it's not just preference. I think it's bad game design.
Here's a question for everyone on the panel. How many people here have played Ratchet 2?
I've not.
Going Commando.
Nope.
I would like to, but I've never played one.
There is a planet on Ratchet Going Commando that's similar to the crystals, but you only have to find 100 crystals.
Yeah, they could have decreased the amount that you needed.
And I don't necessarily mind collectibles, but
there was an excessive amount of this. And they should have given you the radar way earlier.
Games. But this is
the green energy crystal radar.
Yes, they gave it to you at 75%.
Like, I like the collectibles, that increase your capacity or whatever, not crystals that basically do nothing until you reach a certain threshold. And that's another thing I didn't even talk about at all is the green crystals, which like I said, I don't think should be in the game at all. It's terrible. But the fact that it introduces the concept to you at the beginning of the game, but it doesn't make that big of a deal of it. It's like it seems like it's an optional thing and you don't need to do it if you don't want to, but then you get to the end of the game, it's like, oh no, you have to do this in order to proceed, which makes no sense because there's another thing I mentioned when I was playing on stream is that Primes 1, 2, and 3 each have like an end game search. So Prime 1, you had the artifacts you had to get. Prime 2, you had the Sky Temple keys, and in Prime 3, there was the energy, the fuel rod canister things, energy containers.
Prime 1 and 2 did it best because you could get them throughout your adventure.
Yeah. Well, actually, because that's one of the things a lot of people have a problem with Prime 1 and 2 is that end game wrap up of having to get those items in order.
Well, whenever you know on second playthroughs, you would know where they are and you can grab them on your way around.
Right.
Because the one in Magmore Caverns, you can actually get before you get the super missile. You just have to use 5 missiles on the pillar.
I did not know that.
Really? I never knew that.
Yeah, so you don't even need the super missile.
The one that's is really confusing is the one in Phendrana Drifts where you have to blow the tower up because it implies you have to have the plasma beam, which you don't get till really late, but then you get it and it's like artifact number 3, which you can get, but you have to like kind of cheat it to jump and shoot your missile over the invisible wall, which is the only way to get it early. But anyways, I think Prime 3 did it best because there are 9 energy containers, but you only need 5 of them in order to get to the end of the game. So you don't have to do all of them. This game has that as well with the mech parts where you rebuild the mech, but it also has the green crystals. So I figured once I assemble the mech, I can go ahead and proceed and finish the game. But no, you have to do the mech and the crystals. Fortunately, I was at about 75% at that point, so I was very close to
and you
getting all the
unlock
crystals
the radar at that point.
I needed because I had the radar. But the fact that it has 2 end game searches, one that is it never makes a big deal about it, but then all of a sudden the end of the game is required is utterly absurd.
I would have liked the mech parts if we were given the teleport devices earlier on, so we could have grabbed them when we got the ability to be able to grab them.
Yeah,
like I know some of them need the grapple lasso and stuff like that. So once we were able to get them, we should be able to go get them.
Yeah, I agree with
there's
that.
a-
That was just needless padding.
Yes, yeah. There's a ton. And I'm realizing this on my second playthrough. There's not a lot of, if they took out all the backtracking and like you get to the point where you get out of the mines and then you have to go to Miles and he's like, well, you find the part, then you got to go find Tanabe, get that thing, bring it back to Miles. Then he sends you
And then
back out.
and then the fact that Tanabe actually requires you to has a couple of the expansions, but you can't get those until the end game too.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So there's,
If they had made it
Metroid-
so that whenever you came back from the ice area and he'd already gotten back and Miles tells you, hey, Tanabe's out there looking around
Yeah.
in the desert, and you could find them and get those expansions after certain parts in the story, that
yeah.
would make more sense than how
There's-
they did it.
There's a lot of needless gatekeeping your progression. Like if they made all the crystals available right at the beginning, all of Tanabe's stuff right at the beginning, there'd be some incentives. Like, okay, this time I play the game, I'm just going to ignore Miles, do all the side stuff, get the legacy suit, which you can't get until the very end for no reason. I don't know. It's like in
I
Dread.
do like the look of the legacy suit because it looks like the light suit from
does look good.
Prime
Yes.
2.
The
It's one of
Viola
my
suit though
favorites.
is now my favorite suit in the entire franchise, not just the Prime.
It does
games.
look that suit does look clean too.
Sorry, just one more thing.
Yeah.
In Dread, they programmed in, like, if you manage to sequence break the game, you can do some really cool stuff. Like they programmed in animations to like beat Ridley in many different ways, depending on what items you have somehow. But in this game, it's like they don't want you to sequence break at all. They don't want
Yeah,
you to
for
do
some
that.
reason, the
Awesome.
Prime games have always hated sequence breaking because I know
Yeah.
there was a sequence break in the first game where you could
And
get
they
to the
patched it
mines
out.
early, and they patched it out in
Oh.
later.
Oh, I
later
was talking
revisions.
about the getting the space jump boots immediately when you land on Talon 4.
Not even
Oh,
that.
yeah,
I'm
you can
talking.
side-
No, there. You know how there's those bars that you can get whenever you get to that you have to use a boost ball
a spinner thingy.
spinner to get away, so you can actually open a shortcut to the mines
Okay.
in Talon Overworld. Well, originally
yeah.
there
Oh yeah, I know what
originally
you're talking about.
they only
I know
had
what
like
you're talking
3
about.
of them.
It's the
So
part
you
that's
could
separated into the higher area and the lower area.
Yeah.
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 There
I
was
can
in the
picture it in my mind.
original release there was only 3 of those bars, and if you do a morph ball bomb jump just right, you can get over those bars.
Oh, nice.
I did not
So
know that.
the- so
I'll
what
try
they
that 'cause
did-
I have the original
so-
release.
So on a later release, they ended up adding another bar up top so that you couldn't do that.
I did not know that.
But like I said, the Prime games have always been against sequence breaking. So
Yeah.
I don't even
that's
think
one of the
Prime
reasons
4
why I
even
don't
can
really-
sequence break.
So because of that, I don't really fault Prime 4 for it as much because the Prime games have always done that.
I mean,
Yeah,
see, normally
inabilities.
I would agree with you on that, but I am faulting it more because of this faux open world they gave you,
Yeah.
which gives you the illusion that this is an open world thing and I can go
Yes.
explore, but then it's almost like you're not rewarded for it adequately. There's no benefit for me to go out there. Like I'm not navigating a cavern to find an area. It's like, okay, this is a Thundershot area. It's like, okay, I'm just going to drive to that shrine. Oh, can't get in. That's marked on my map, so I'll just come to it later. And then that's it. There's no, they should have just done away with the whole thing.
Having the
Yeah,
ability
I
to
was
sequence
definitely
break,
worried about. That was definitely my biggest worries because Breath of the Wild is my least favorite Zelda, and it's because of the open world.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Interesting. Yeah.
the only open world game I fully enjoyed was Elden Ring.
Oh, that's such an awesome game.
It is, and it's because it actually rewards your exploration throughout the game.
Yeah.
But
See,
like,
I was. Oh, this is a different. We can talk about Breath of the
Yeah,
Wild.
yeah, that's
later.
different. That's a different thing. But it
I loved
pertains to
that
this.
too.
I've always found open world games to overstay their welcome way faster than what it is to 100% at the game, and that's definitely how I felt with the desert area in this game.
Yeah, having the ability to sequence break is definitely a bonus, but I definitely wouldn't take off points for not being able to.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not talking about sequence breaking. I'm just saying, like,
Right.
It wouldn't even be considered a sequence break if they just allowed you to collect all the crystals at your leisure and get the rewards from the memory.
At the very
right
least,
away.
you should be able to collect all the crystals after you take.
Yes,
Because
it
at
would've
that
been
point, there's no
super
more.
helpful to have-
There's no more green. There's no more green goo
Green
being
rain.
sent out to everywhere. So at that point, all the green crystals should be up.
Yeah. It's like it would have been really helpful to have the legacy suit or be able to spend more time with it.
That too.
You know, before you had to go just beat the game.
I mean,
Yeah.
if Prime 2 didn't really have the extra key collection, you wouldn't have had much time with the light suit either.
Yeah, that's true.
So it was only because of the padding that you actually had the light suit for as long as you did.
Yeah, but the light suit actually had functionality. It's like no longer are you
Damaged. And you
you're
go to
damaged now.
there's areas that you can only reach with the light suit. Otherwise, you would like instantly die.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's like multiple functions to it. It wasn't just like this looks cool and there's like a protective element like that was part of it, but it felt like they wanted to give you something. They needed a new suit, give it a new function, and now fight the final boss. Whereas they could have done more with it. I think there's a lot of mechanics, not a lot, but there's a few mechanics in this game where I'm just like, they wasted potential with it.
Yeah, I agree.
But we can get to that with the next section.
So one thing you mentioned earlier about like if they had the cannon fast travel, you could just shoot across the valley, so you could skip the Soul Valley area. They could still have that and still have the exploration with the green crystals, because you wouldn't just automatically have fast travel to each area. You'd have to go and, like, in my opinion, acquire like the targeting data for that area. So you still have to go manually go to that area first, and then find this new item you find that gives you the targeting data, which allows you to then shoot to that area. So you could still have the green crystals and the exploration in the Soul Valley. So you're still going across here and there. But once you've finished this area, you then can fast travel back and forth between it and the other areas. And, but if you don't want to, you still have the Soul Valley to travel through on bike if you wanted to. Yep. So I think that's the way that they should have done it if they were going to keep the green crystals. But the last thing about the green crystals is that, like I said, once I got to the end, I was at 75%, and I cleared out every single thing on the radar, and I was still at like 80%. I'm like, how am I still missing anything? It's because I didn't realize that you had to power bomb the big green rocks the last bit. And once I realized that, there was only that, because those were the only.
I realized that the first time I saw one, because I actually scanned it, because I scanned almost everything in my first.
I scanned everything too, but I didn't necessarily read everything.
Yeah,
I read everything.
I did the same thing.
So, but once I realized you could bomb it, I went and bombed all because there's only like 5 of them on the map.
Do I need to post the Boondocks GIF of telling someone to read?
But yeah, once I realized that there's only like 5 of those rocks, and I bombed them, and I went from like 80% to like 180%. So because you can fill it up again. But yeah, they should have made more of a point to let you know that it is required, and because there are other people who probably didn't do any of it, and then get to the end of the game, they probably have like 10%, and they're like, now I just got to drive around for hours just grinding out these stupid crystals in basically pitch silence, with Miles constantly chiming in every 5 freaking seconds, which we'll talk about that more in just a second. It's like, shut up and let me drive.
And fighting the same 2 enemies.
Yeah, those spinning balls things and the birds. So, all right. Last thoughts on map design.
I think we covered
worst
it.
part of the game, easily.
Yeah,
agreed.
I'd agree with that.
All right. So our next aspect we're going to get into is stories, characters, and friendly AI. And who wants to kick this one off?
I think I could go first.
I had a feeling dude was going to jump in there,
because I haven't gone first yet.
All right. So give us your thoughts and what you rate this aspect of the game.
First off, I do not hate any of the characters.
Interesting.
So, I mean, that's interesting because of the entire aspect of everyone talking about this game was about the characters. And it feels like whenever you first meet Miles, it feels like he's like at his wit's end, because he's been teleported to this random planet with no one friendly around him. So he's probably, and he's not supposed to be like a frontliner type of person. So for him, he's like, I'm dead. there's no way I'm going to be able to survive out here alone. So he's probably trying to use comedy to try and keep himself sane. And then that's when you finally find him, and that's where everyone complains about him, his quirkiness. On that piece of whatever he's on. It's probably just like a ship. It's probably like a broken ship, but it was being held up by vines. Well, he's like, "Help me get down," and then it has you play the game, and it has you shoot the vines. In any other game, that would have been just the entire cutscene where he asked you to help get him down. In any other game, it would have been like the main hero would have said something quippy or just been silent and just shot the vines. In this game, it had you play as the silent guy shooting the vines. So I actually kind of like that. And as you're going towards the eventual safe house, he does start slowly going away from his quirkiness. And after that first encounter with him, every time you encounter him again, he doesn't have the same quirkiness anymore because he's calmed himself down. Like, he has a couple of quips, but it's nowhere near as crazy as what his first interaction was. My biggest problem with Miles is the gameplay implementation.
Yep.
Whenever he's talking to you in the while you're out in the desert, I wish you could shut him up. But that's a gameplay, not an NPC story type thing.
Yep.
And I don't mind going back to him for the first chip because it's a new technology from a different species. But every time you get another chip, you should have been able to do it remotely.
Yeah.
Or fast travel.
Yeah. So, but the first time going back, there was actually a reason to go back because, actually, to be honest, there's a reason to go back once you get each chip because of that temple next to the safe house.
Yeah, there's
it's even. I know because you played it on the Switch 2. It's actually even worse on the Switch 1 because the loading times are insanely long.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what we talked about earlier before you got here.
Yeah.
Although one thing I did look into, if you do get the Switch 2 version, it does have the Switch 1 version on the cartridge.
Oh, okay.
So it is a Switch 1 and 2 cartridge. So
that's awesome.
There's no reason to have a Switch 1 version.
I always thought, like, why would you get the Switch 2 version when you get the Switch 1 version? Just get the upgrade, because if you get the Switch 2 version, you would be able to play it on Switch 1. But apparently that is not the case. I did not know that.
Yeah, there are some games that are like that. And if you look at the this is just a quick tangent, but let's see if the camera will show it. But
yeah, it's super blurry.
Yeah, but on the bottom there is a letters and numbers. If the first two letters of a Switch 2 cartridge is LN, that means it is a Switch 1 and 2 game.
So you could put that in either Switch and it would run?
Yes.
Awesome.
I haven't tried it yet with my Switch 1, but I'm pretty sure, but everything I've looked up, it does that. So I still have my Switch 1 somewhere around here.
I did not know that was a thing.
So there was no reason to really release this game as a Switch 1 game because of that. But
well, I'm glad they did, because then we would have had to pay an extra $10 and get nothing out of it.
True.
Yeah.
But then whenever you got Switch 2, you would have the better game.
Yeah, but I'd rather pay the $60 now and then upgrade with the $10 later on.
But definitely having to go back to Miles for the chips definitely felt off with the Metroidvania style. Also hurt the Metroidvania style as well.
Yeah, they could have easily fixed that with having some sort of like scanner on her.
Like I said, the first time
send the data.
The first time you pick up
and
a
he
chip,
can analyze the data and he could tell you over the radio. It's like, all right, it's ready to go.
Yeah, that's why I was saying, okay, the first time he picks up a chip, or you pick up a chip, it makes sense to go back to him because he has to figure out how to interface with it.
Like,
and it's better if he does that
reverse engineered, essentially.
Yeah. So after that first time, he should have been able to say, hey, just have your suit analyze it, send it to me, and then I'll give you the API for it, pretty much.
That would have been nice.
That would have been nice, because then at that point you would get the ice and the electric beams immediately.
But then you wouldn't have to go back through the desert and
wait through all the load times.
And get there.
You see, everything goes back to the desert with our problems with the game.
But because they want you to be in the desert.
Yeah,
and
that's the
nobody
problem.
Wants to be in the desert.
They want to pad out the runtime.
If you took out the desert and made it better interconnected, it would be a way better game.
Absolutely.
Yep.
There's a number of games just in this franchise that not necessarily the desert, but you could make some slight tweaks and it would be drastically better games.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the next NPC you meet is a sniper. I actually didn't mind his story. I actually kind of liked the story, but I kind of wish they fleshed it out over the course of the game instead of just like
Sakabi, right?
yeah, Sakabi, and all of his interactions are after you get the teleport chip from him.
Yep.
So if they had done it in a way that his interactions were throughout the game, where you get the expansions from him after talking with him, it would have been interesting because it does expand some of the ideas on how normal people think in this world. So it was he was an interesting character. And then you had the sergeant and the greenhorn pretty much. And that the greenhorn is where some people have complaints as well, because I mean, whenever she's saying that stuff about Samus using her abilities, they are at least in a safe area, not fending off enemies. Like when she's, and I do like the dynamic between her and the sergeant, because every time she starts getting out of line, he gets her back in line.
Mm-hmm.
And she's I mean, to be honest, in this world, Samus is kind of like a mythical character. Like how many people? I mean, you would probably think most people probably think that she's not even real, because who goes into a space pirate base on a hostile planet, goes to that base and ends up blowing up the entire planet and surviving? I mean, I know that Zebes didn't fully blow up, but she still went to Zebes originally and still blew up the base and survived. So, and then of course all the other Prime games as well. She is like, it'd be like if a private Marine met up with Master Chief in a quiet time. Like every time you see Chief interact with Marines, it's during actual combat. So you don't really see a Green Marine looking at Chief and being like, he's real.
Well, there's one scene I think in Halo 3 where he's walking through the hangar and they don't like, say much to him, but they like tap each other and they're looking like, whoa,
Yeah.
there he is. They're like in awe of him.
But I mean, it's like he's just walking by. He's not actually standing there and
Yeah.
and then being there with them. So that's why they don't do that with them. But I could still see that happening in like Halo with Chief being there. And so I don't mind her being like that with Samus, because apparently she also is a very big Samus fan. So there are going to be people that go into the military because of someone like Samus.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's probably one of those people. And then if you read her scan log, you can tell that she actually has been reprimanded on the station that she was stationed on because of her talking about Samus too much. So she is a big Samus fan. So
Fangirl.
I think it's fine. I think it's fine. And like I said, the sergeant is there to stop her from going too overboard.
Duke, yeah.
So that's why I don't mind those two. And then of course, the final NPC was of course the robot, and I don't think anyone hates the robot.
He's my favorite.
Yeah. And then whenever you find the chasm in the mine, and he's like, "I have an idea. Go in the morph ball."
Yeah,
and he just
that was the
chucks
best
you across
one.
the chasm.
Yeah, that was cool.
Chasm. Real quick, I wanted to address some chat that I forgot to when we switched topics. But Rinsler is not a fan of your take on Breath of the Wild. He says it's a chef's kiss. So, see, Vanquish is here. What's up, Vanquish? Hope you're doing well tonight. He says, I was really hoping Prime 4 would be a push to get a Switch 2. Really disappointed. I was hoping the same. Yeah, I definitely would not recommend upgrading to a Switch 2 for it. Other than the load times, it runs great on Switch 1. And Landlow is saying, are sequence breaks ever intentional? Not always, but sometimes they are. And Vegas says, dudes, he's the same. I do love good open world game, but I love curated story driven games, which makes me a bit hypocritical because two of my favorite games are Cyberpunk and Witcher. Ariana Floyd is here. Good to see you again. And Tim says that he ran the same Switch on both Switch 1 and 2, and it worked great. Awesome. Hey, Jeff from Sun Shadows, who was just on Party Chat the other night, is here. Good evening, Jeff. And Crazy Landlord could not agree more. Halo 3 is the GOAT Halo game, but you prefer Halo 2 story. Fair enough. So, character-wise,
I think my biggest complaint is that what they did with Silex. because there is actually a sequence that shows why he hates the Galactic Federation, and it's just him just disobeying orders, and because of that he gets his whole squad get wiped out. But I can see somewhat where they're going with, because it's like, because of that sequence they were saying hold back because we're sending Samus in. I think it's because
She's
he
expendable.
didn't like that the Galactic Federation was someone like Samus. So I could see where that's coming from, but the way they handled it was not a good look.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe what happened, they should have made it so that the Galactic Federation order was wrong, like telling them back down, but them backing down was going to cause a lot more death because of the cannon going off. So they could have made it like that. And then because Samus came late, that's why the squad ended up getting wiped, except for him. And then him swatting away her hand because she was late saving the rest of them. Like,
There's a lot of small things they could have done to
there's so many small things that they could have done better.
that would have made them
And
much
that's my
better.
biggest complaint with the story. And that's why I tend to give it like a 7. I mean, for Metroid games, I never expect anything crazy.
Right.
So,
Yeah. So for me, like,
if in like a final grading, story would never really give me would really have much weighting outside of, did it get in the way of the game?
yeah, I've never.
I think for the most part, it didn't get in the way of the game.
Most of the Metroid games, like, I don't really care much about the story.
Prime 3 had a lot of story.
Yeah, I'd say Prime 3 probably had the most, and I didn't think it was bad.
Other M also had a lot of story too.
That was not great. But yeah, most of the times, like, there's not really a whole lot of story in a lot of Metroid games, and that's fine, because
the only story is you're going to this planet. Here's your objective. That's all the story.
Yeah. But for, going over each of the characters, I think that is probably the most overblown aspect of the game, especially when we come talking about all the social media stuff. I think it was all majorly blown out of proportion. Yes, Miles is quirky and kind of annoying, but he's only with you for a few minutes at the beginning, and then you only go and talk to him a couple times. I think by far, as I alluded to earlier, the worst part about Miles is just when you're collecting crystals at the end of the game and you won't shut the hell up so you can just collect crystals in peace, constantly interjecting and showing you on the map. So you can't even open the map without it saying like, hey, go here, go here. Yep. It's like, I turned hints off and it still does that. And it's
exactly.
Like, just
if
let
there
me
was a
open
toggle
the map.
To turn that off, it'd be so much better.
Just let me open the map and browse it myself. Oh, that's another thing is when you travel the map, in the map screen and you go into an area, when you back out, it doesn't back out to the top of where that is. It recenters on where you are. So you have to go move the cursor back to where it was if you wanted to go look at that area again. Tiny nitpick. But that, in my opinion, the worst part about Miles is just him not letting you collect green crystals in peace at the end of the game. I think that's the worst part of him. So I think he was.
I think if they added a toggle to turn off his dialogue in the desert, it would be so much better.
Exactly.
I think I'd go from a 7 to an 8. Just because of that alone.
I haven't decided on the number yet, but I would absolutely give many more. I definitely bump up my grading for characters at least for that alone, because that's in my opinion, the worst part about Miles.
And also, one thing I did like about Miles is that whenever you use the mech at the end of the game, and then it starts breaking because you overused it, and he's super sad about it because it's like, I always like it whenever an engineer is like that towards the mech he's supposed to be keeping track of.
It reminded me in Return of the Jedi after the Rancor gets killed and that fat guy is weeping over the death of the Rancor. That's what I thought of when he's like, no. But yeah, that was a good point. But yeah, I think he was annoying, but he wasn't that bad. Takabi, I actually liked him. He's probably my favorite of the human characters. That he's pretty quiet and reserved, and he has some interesting stories. Duke was not bad. I like that he kind of reined Armstrong in whenever she started fangirling. So I like Duke.
I mean, it was the hardened veteran paired with the greenhorn. It's a tried and true idea, so it works out in my opinion.
Armstrong was annoying, but I thought she was overblown. In that she wasn't as bad as everyone made it out to be. And then View, he was my favorite of all the NPCs. I liked him a lot. He was a great robot. But story-wise, overall for the characters, I'd probably give him like a 7 for the characters in general. Story-wise, I thought was, like I said, I didn't necessarily need that much of a story in a game, but if you're going to put one in there, have it like make sense. Put an actual story. The story, if you even want to call it that. So major spoilers for this aspect of the stream, if for anyone who hasn't played it, I would probably give like a 2, maybe a 3. There's like no story to this game whatsoever, but they want to like imply that there is. Because you show up on the planet, which makes sense. It's under siege, so you're called in to help. And then all of a sudden, for some reason, never explained, Silex shows up. He shoots this relic. Is it on accident? Is it on purpose? There's a flash. We wake up on another planet.
They do explain that the relic was actually a teleporter.
I never got that.
You're supposed to scan things.
The important point to the story should not be in scan logs. That's for minor details. So you wake up on this supposedly other planet for some reason, and in the lead up to the release, there was a lot of hints towards there's time travel. There was no indication that there was any time travel in the game, but there could be, and they just didn't say so. But you wake up on this other planet, and there's a couple of people on this planet with you. Why is it when there was plenty of people on the planet that you teleported from? Why is it just these 5 people in Silex? Like
maybe they were killed by the space pirates, but then the space pirate.
Why didn't any space pirates come?
Why didn't any space pirates come? Why is it just
apparently somehow
characters?
Metroids came? And one problem I have is somehow Metroids came because Metroids are attached to all of the bosses.
Yeah,
a gaggle of Metroids.
Silex has Metroids in tow, or Mocktroids. There was no explanation.
My biggest problem with that is that there was a Metroid attached to the ice boss. How did a Metroid survive in the ice area?
Point. I didn't even think about that. But as you play through the game, there's Metroids. No Metroids in the game, but there are Metroids attached to the bosses for some unknown reason.
They do explain that with the first boss, but it doesn't really work that well for the other bosses.
It makes sense for the first boss because Silex shows up with Metroids for some reason, which is not explained. But they show up on the rest of the game, which makes no sense. What was that, Lois?
Are there any like scans from like the Lemorne history that talks about Metroids at all?
No,
because I don't remember any at all. There would have to be something from them using or experimenting with Metroids in order for those bosses.
The thing is, though, Metroids are a Chozo creation, so I don't think they would have ever been here because I don't think the Chozo were ever here.
Well, it's implied that
it doesn't make any sense.
You're in a completely different universe.
We have no idea where this planet is in relation to where they were.
Isn't it implied when Samus is using the teleporter at the end? Isn't it implied that this whole planet and galaxy and whatever is in like a different dimension?
Yeah, well, I mean, Miles pretty much says that when in the beginning when the gang gets together, and he's like, "If you look at these star charts, technically we shouldn't even be here." Like, I think it could be it's what they were going for. This is
uncharted space.
We're in a different universe type thing.
It could have been uncharted space because it could have been stars that weren't anywhere near him.
Exactly. So Silex is the bad guy for no reason, and he doesn't like Samus, and he's the boss, and there's no explanation of that whatsoever. And the only way to get some little itty bitty bit of story is you have to 100% the scan logs in order to get the actual explanation of why. Sort of, it's barely even explains why he doesn't like Samus.
I mean,
you don't even get that in the base game. You have to 100% scans just to get that end cutscene to find out something we should have known from the beginning of the game. So they did a god awful.
For some reason, he was connected to the central. I think he was connected to this, like the central.
Yeah, that's
computer
the explanation.
to the alien species, and that's why whenever Samus was using her psychic powers and getting psychic powers, she was seeing some of his memories throughout the game.
Yeah.
So they were piecemealing that cutscene throughout the game.
So yeah, I think they did a god awful terrible job of telling any type of story. And you basically have like 2 concurrent storylines that have absolutely like nothing to do with each other with the Lemorne and Silex.
I do like the idea behind the Lemorne causing their own demise.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Like that was a good subplot. But
more big spoilers at the end. That's another thing is there's I don't know why that keeps happening. They disappear, but they immediately reappear backstage.
It's almost like it happens like after an hour and a half or something like that they've joined.
But another thing that, in my
guess I'm
opinion, bad
next.
storytelling is how many times were there fake outs where, oh, we're going to sacrifice ourselves so you guys can complete the mission. And then all of a sudden later, they're back with no explanation. And then at the end of the game, major spoilers, you just leave them all on the planet stranded so that you can go back because this memory fruit is so important for some reason.
I mean, to be honest, I
silly
would also
fun.
say that someone has to go to the regular world so that they can actually get a ship to the place that they are on to rescue the rest of them.
And they don't know where the planet is.
With them being on the planet, I'm pretty sure Samus's suit probably took a map of the stars that they were whenever she was on the planet, so they could probably
help them find their way back.
Yeah.
So the problem though is that we have to kind of suppose what the reasoning is, whereas it's the job of the writers to communicate that to us. And if they don't if we have to fill in the gaps for them, then it's bad writing. That's definitely my thing with this.
Yeah, and so they basically all sacrifice themselves so that you can leave so you can go plant the memory fruit.
It's actually a game over if you don't actually press the
button.
Yeah, and you have to do the whole fight over again. And when you do teleport, it's like you don't even know where you teleported back. Are you on the same planet you were before?
I think you teleport back to the planet you were on.
It looks like it could have been, but there's nothing indicated whether it's just some random planet or it's the one that you were on originally.
It did look like the planet you were originally on.
And like, why, the memory fruit is so important, but what exactly is it? Because the Lemorne are all gone, so it's not like it's going to bring them back or anything. So they just did a terrible job of storytelling in this game. It's like, if you don't want to put a story in, that's fine. But if you're going to put a story in, don't make it so, I don't know, esoteric. That makes absolutely no sense. So I give the story probably like a 2 out of 10. It was terrible. And the best storytelling is from 100% scans, and you get like an extra 1.5-minute scene. So, Lois, why don't you go ahead and give us some of your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd probably give it a 1 or 2 out of 10 as well. And yeah, like you guys are saying, it's not supposed to be a super important aspect of a Metroidvania. You mostly play it for the gameplay, but still, there needs to be something that gives you a reason to be there. And I think the biggest problem I have is like those like death fake outs they do with the Marines.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that one either.
I'm very familiar with stuff like that with a certain other series that I talk about a lot.
Is it Trails?
So, perhaps. But I hate this. This is like, it's like a form of emotional manipulation, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm so tired of it. I hate when stories do stuff like this. And you know it's going to happen too. Like, you see, and then when you leave all the Marines behind at the end, the very first thought I had is, oh, they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Like if they had made it so at least one of the Marines died during that section.
Because they show up again later with no explanation of how they got out of the situation they were in. I thought that if they had died there, it would have been a better death than them all sacrificing themselves at the end so that Samus could escape.
I mean, to be honest, I don't mind the sniper, the robot, surviving, but at least either Sergeant or Armstrong should have died. One of the two.
Yeah.
Maybe they could have made it so that the linear section. Maybe if you did something, maybe if you had a choice on something, maybe you could choose which one survived.
Choices in a Nintendo game? No, that ain't happening.
But
it's a running gag on my channel, I guess. I always talk about this a lot, that Nintendo games and options are like oil and water.
Well, you can choose what character you're playing as in Hyrule Warriors.
That's true. So the one thing I rag on a lot though is a lot of Nintendo games have like no options menu whatsoever. This game actually had a pretty good one. So that's
pretty
shocking.
standard for Prime games, at least.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there was something else I was going to say about the characters. So,
The
what about
other
you?
part of this, there's
Oh.
another part of the story that doesn't make sense to me though, and I don't know if this is because like I missed something because I scanned a lot of stuff, but I didn't scan everything. I probably finished with like an 80-something% if I remember correctly.
I scanned literally everything, and I only had 93%. I'm like, how did I miss 7%?
I don't know. What I don't get the Lemorne prophecy story. So they have like this prophecy and they build this giant teleporter device just to bring Samus to their planet.
No.
Right.
They just know there's a
chosen one, but they don't know who.
A chosen one.
mean-
a chosen one to fix the problem that they created.
I mean, Samus has been a chosen one quite a bit. So
Yeah.
Yes.
she's been like the
it
chosen
made-
one like 3 or 4 times by now.
It made sense with the Chozo though. These guys.
Well, they also did it with the Luminoth and the species and hunters.
Wait. Was she a chosen one in Prime 2?
Pretty much, yeah.
Or was she
Well,
just someone
I'm
who
not talking
happened
about
to...
pretty much. I'm talking like was she like prophesied to show up and help them, or did she
I
just
think so.
happen?
If I remember
I don't
correctly, at
remember
least she
that.
was.
Yeah,
don't
or
remember the
did she
story
just
of
show
Prime
up
2.
and they're like, please help us?
I do like how
Yeah.
in Prime 2 they're moths and they're clinging to the last light of their planet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the aim,
I never actually thought about that until just
if
now.
if you shoot it with the annihilator beam, the light bulbs, it attracts the ing to it, and they all fly into it like a bug zapper. The
Yep.
game's just a big bug
I love
analogy.
Yeah, I haven't played Prime 2 since like 2006, so I don't remember anything
wow.
about the story.
I played it
Yeah.
a lot last year because of retro achievements.
Same. I still have a few more to wrap up, which I'll probably be doing soon before Prime 3 gets retro achievements in March. But not really a big point, but oh my goodness,
There we go again.
Restream is
offended him.
being super dumb lately.
You didn't like Breath of the
Couldn't
Wild.
kick me out for long. It's like it's like an oops, something
It's
went wrong,
instant.
and it reconnects me immediately.
But just a funny thought is, they have this factory for creating the motorcycles, and that's their only vehicle. It's like, can you imagine the Luminoth actually riding these things?
They look
Or
ridiculous.
you mean the Lumios?
Did I say
Oh, yeah,
Luminoth? I meant Lemorne.
The
Lemorne,
Lemorne.
I meant
The
the Lemorne.
Luminoth would look cool riding those things.
It's
I mean,
like,
Samus looked cool riding them, but she wasn't
Yeah.
the original.
she wasn't the one they built it for.
No,
Yeah.
So that's just a little small side tangent. But
Lemorne biker gangs roaming the desert. The delinquent Lemorne that got forced. Maybe there's like a group that didn't want the psychic crystals put in their head, but
they're the rebels.
yeah.
Fight the power. So, and we had Demi lurking over on Twitch. What's up, Demi? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well tonight. So, Bongo, we haven't heard much from you on this topic. Looks like you've been writing some notes, though.
I have been, because there's a lot. I could say a lot about this. Okay, so I'll start with the characters. Their personalities didn't bother me as much as most people. I will say that. I was actually happy they had personalities. I had big
they even had
issue
even
with-
more personality whenever he went to the camps. When he went back to
Yes.
the camp and they were interacting with each other.
Yeah, so
Those were
I'll
nice
give,
little things.
I'll give the positives first. Yeah, the camp interactions were good. You could listen in their conversations, which developed their characters. Having them interact with each other was good. It was actually like a relief when Duke and Armstrong got together and could actually talk, because the choice to make Samus not say anything or really do anything was, I think, a poor choice. I don't think they should have done that. They
I
should
was
have
gonna
given
talk
her
about that
one-liners
next.
here and there.
At least let her fist bump Armstrong.
Yeah, well, not fist bump. I'll tell you why. But like when Armstrong is freaking out in the mines, a one-liner from Samus would have hit really hard, because she
Yeah,
doesn't say anything. If she had taken that moment to say something, it would have been like, oh, this is Samus. This is the Samus, just like the one-liner in Dread. It didn't have to be what they could have given her more than one line, but I'm just saying, like, keep her mostly quiet, but she only speaks when she needs to. Like, give her that
100%.
aspect.
I'm
There was
gonna
a
talk about
moment
that.
where a specific.
What would you have
moment
her
where,
say though?
I don't know.
Just say something simple like "We have a job to do" or something like that.
something
Yeah,
like
or
that,
just, or yeah, something like that, or something like we have to get moving and make make use of his not make use of his sacrifice. That's poor wording, but you know what I mean. Like
Make a sacrifice worth something.
He sacrificed so we could complete
Continue.
the mission. Let's go. Like kind of because that's what she does. She snaps herself out of it and says, "We have a job to do." Samus could have done that. Anyway,
before you continue on, because we're on the topic, I do want to do a little side tangent. But yeah, that's one thing that I mentioned on my stream is like, because a lot of people like, there's too much dialogue, and like Prime 3, I thought was fine. I didn't mind having other characters and having people, to talk to, so that didn't bother me. But in this one,
I'm pretty sure Prime 3 had more dialogue than this game.
That could be, and I didn't have a problem with that. The fact the word in the entire game I had an issue with, because that's exactly what I said, is like she should be like Master Chief, where she barely ever talks, but she does talk when needed to. Because it was really awkward when people like ask her questions and she says nothing. Basically, like she's like a complete
just either nods or she
ignoring them and just doing whatever she wants. It's like she should at least say like yes or no. Little short lines, not hold conversations, but just little things where she says words here and there, I think would have gone a long way to more humanize her.
Right. It wasn't as bad in Prime 3 because you didn't like your interaction with NPCs was during chaotic moments at the beginning of the game. That was pretty much it. But here, so like another.
Well, you had some interactions during the original Siege of the Pirate Homeworld as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. But like other positives, like there's a moment where View 995, he's like when you walk into the camp and he's kind of like over the pond and he's like touching it with the water, and you're just like, oh, that's it. That it as if you scanned him, you would learn that's like, oh, he's gotten some, it's like the whole like he didn't have his memory wiped, so now he's starting to have some erratic behavior that develops emotions. Like that's what that pretty much said. Blending it with Star Wars. Anyway, on that point, jumping over to something that I hated was, okay, you meet Armstrong. She freaks out. She's like, Samus, I love you. You're so cool. Wow, blah, 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 blah. And then you scan her, and I was expecting like Sergeant Nora Armstrong, military record, blah, 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 citation from officer this, officer notes on this, blah, 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 blah. But instead, it was just like a character sheet. Like this is the exact thing that the writer of the game wrote up for her character, and we're going to put it in a thing and put it in a scan. And it's like, you just showed me that's what she's like. Now you're telling me that what she's like. You show, and then even Duke too. Like Duke, when you scan him, it tells you exactly what he's like, and then he does that in his interaction with Armstrong. It's the same with all of them, and that to me is like, it breaks the rule of like, you want to show, don't tell.
Maybe like with Duke,
it wasn't necessary. They could have added more.
Maybe with like Duke, they could have added like some citations, like why he hasn't been moved up above sergeant.
Yep. Yeah.
Like,
there could have.
Maybe he has a problem with chain of command sometimes.
Yeah,
and more about their military record.
But he's more about the soldiers underneath him.
Right.
And he's not willing to let them go to their own deaths.
Yeah. It could have just been they could have added more depth around them, and then just left you to understand their personality. So there was that. All of their character development should have, if I could mix and match the story, the mines should have been leading up to the climax with Silex, because all of the development, all of that the interaction with them, and the nice scenes with Takabi, which I liked, which would have been other great moments where Samus could have said one or two things to deepen her character. Like all of that happened after the mines, after the fake outs. And if I don't care about these characters, the fake outs don't.
And what if they had done it in a way that Silex was the boss in the mines, and he had phases similar to what he had in the main boss fight, but each phase had a different soldier come in and help you with, and that's how they reverse the fake outs as the fight goes on.
Yeah. Okay. In general, though, I'm not like, kind of like Lois said, I'm not a big fan of the fake outs. I think had they killed,
but that would have been a better way of doing the fake out than how they handled it.
Right. It would have been a better way. But if you want to establish, like, if you want to raise the stakes, you have to kill one of them off. Like, if they really wanted you to, like, if they got you to care about the character, kill one of them.
I think Duke was the best. Would have probably been the best candidate.
Who
to be killed off? Duke probably would have been the best candidate to kill off.
I would have chosen Nora because she's as much as people didn't like her, I thought she was the most endearing, and she's kind of got that innocence play, and she's looking up to Samus, and then maybe if she sacrifices herself to save Samus in
Or
some
she
way.
dies because Samus wasn't paying attention to something.
Yeah.
Oh, to put it on, give Samus a bit of a guilty conscience.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's how they should start the next game. Samus is struggling with the fact that she abandoned all of her friends.
Yes.
Other things.
They're just gonna do the 3-4-3 industry perspective, where they just forget all the character development from the previous game.
Yeah, writing again. Like I had no problem with the personalities. It was the writing. Like Sarge being like piece of cake, red velvet cake, or Miles. His comedy didn't really hit for me. Him saying "boo yeah," or one time I walked into the base and Armstrong goes, "Hey girl." And those are all like colloquialisms from our world. And that to me is like, oh yeah. And one time, like when you show up again with the new suit, Armstrong says, "Holy cow." It's like, don't say holy cow, say like, oh my sola. What's the name of the god of their universe? Like, oh my, like something to fit in with the universe. So it's like, that's not something that I would say, but I understand this is like a nitpick, but if you add a bunch of nitpicks together, it becomes a really big pick.
Yeah, like Star Wars, they have expressions for that we wouldn't say here on Earth, but it makes sense in their universe. So I totally get what you mean.
So yeah, the writing I had issues with. They should have reorganized the story. The ending I absolutely hated as well. It put me in a bad mood the whole day because that there's some very simple things they could have done to make it not so like, why isn't Samus going to help them? Like she totally would have helped them. She tried to save Psylocke when he fell into the abyss after she defeated him. They're very clearly going to die.
I mean, I do like that you have the choice of holding off on pressing the button too.
So yeah, the illusion of choice.
Yeah, but I mean, it still gives you the ability to show that you cared about the characters. Like if you just immediately press the button, that means you didn't care about the characters, and that means Samus didn't care about the characters.
I immediately hit the button.
Yeah, I immediately hit the button too because I didn't. I at that point I didn't have any faith in their writing ability to be like, oh, this is what I have to do. There's no way around this. They should have. They could even have a throwaway line. Miles says, "We can't get to you. This whole place is going up. Go now." It's like, or have her try to get out. Just bang on the force field once, and then she realizes they can't go. They realize she can't get to them. Go now. Like something like that. Something small to show that
an effort was made.
An effort was made. Exactly. Because then, at that point in the game, I had, a small amount of concern and care for these characters. They did a basic job of making me care. And I think that's why it made so many people angry, because one, it was against Samus's character, and two, most people had a basic level of care for these characters at this point, which they didn't have in the mines. So anyway, there's if I didn't know who Silex was, I wouldn't have known who the boss big bad was throughout most of the game. Like, yeah, he shows up and he fights you, but what's he doing? What's his plan? Why? Like, I don't know. There's just so much wrong with it. I give it 2 or a 1. Like, I can't. I can't. It's just bad. I don't know. That's me.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't know about the pressing the button thing before I got there. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, what's going to happen if I don't? But then I'm like, oh, wait, no, I know where the story is going. I'm just going to press the button.
It just popped up and I hit the button. And then after I beat the game, I went, because I all the reviews and everything and stuff that came out before, because I was only playing it on stream once a week. So all those videos I saved because I wasn't going to watch them until after I beat it. So after I beat the game, I went and watched all those videos I had been saving for the last couple of weeks, and everyone was commenting about them. I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about that. But I was like, that makes sense on why people would be upset about it.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
make sure I don't watch videos like that before I beat a game.
Yeah, me too.
You can actually see it on my stream as well. After I beat it, I spent like the last 20 minutes of my stream just trying to wrap my head around how
Yeah.
stupid this ending was and how to make sense of this story and the whole Lamorne thing, and it was kind of funny actually.
Yeah. I was there
Alright.
too. I was in silence for a few minutes, just being like, "What? Why did they do that?" I had so many questions. And okay, in the article that Tanabe with the interview, um, he does say he wanted an ending that would make people feel. He got it, but I don't think he did it in a good way. And it reminds me
Or
of
in
the
the way
whole
he
like
wanted.
how Ryan Johnson wanted to subvert everybody's expectations, and that was more important to him than actually writing a cohesive story. And I kind of feel like that's what happened with Tanabe. Like his main he had, this was going to be his last game. He had some main ideas he really wanted to work in, and that I feel like that might have taken precedence over everything else.
At the
Like,
very least, it didn't ruin the series.
Yeah. I don't think this has done anywhere near as much damage
Yeah.
to Metroid as Last Jedi did to Star Wars.
I don't think it
just have
did
so
any
much-
damage, to be honest,
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
didn't hurt
it did- it
Samus's
did-
Samus's character.
Samus's character. You know, it just. Why does she
It
care so
hasn't-
much about the Lamorne? She shows up, she's all sad, she has no connection with these people. If they made it Chozo, like you could understand like any conflict she might
I
have
think
had. Like,
I think you've seen that because with Illuminoth and the species in Hunters, since he's had these interactions with all these other alien species, she kind of sees them similar to what the Chozo could have been on a different path, and she
but
kind of.
is that something that's communicated to us, or is that something that we're just left to kind of
I think
figure out
I
on
think it
our
is the later, but it's also shown in other games too because of like Prime 2 and Hunters.
Right. I mean, she does have a general care for, which is why it's so baffling that she left them. She has a general approval.
Like you said,
for-
if they just made her
life.
try to get out of the shield,
Yeah.
it would have been better.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my take on it.
All right. The last thing we didn't really touch on much in this category is friendly AI. I thought it was not bad. The
When
only time
it was existed.
Yeah, the only time I really
Yeah,
had an
it's
issue
fine.
with it is in the
Final
final
boss.
boss fight, but that's more so not necessarily their AI.
We could talk about in the
AI, so
gameplay.
we'll talk about that in the next
Yeah.
aspect. So, any last thoughts on story and characters before we move on to our last category?
Luckily, I don't care too much about story whenever I'm playing a Metroid game.
Yeah.
That's probably why my opinion is a bit more positive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just to echo some of the things that were already said, it's not the characters themselves that I don't like, it's the way they're implemented in the game.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. I
with
think
that.
that's everyone's opinion here.
But like, why? I was thinking too with the like the story structure. Okay, so Prime 1 and 2, the most, a lot of the story of the world that you're exploring happened before you got there, and a lot of the scans is just you piecing it together, and that they try to do the same thing with that, but at the same time telling the current story with you and the troopers and Silux. And I think that was detrimental, because I'm trying to figure out why I was so more invested in the Chozo lore of Prime 1 but not in the Lamorne lore, and I haven't quite put a finger on it yet. That's, or like I was more interested in the Federation trooper logs of all the dead troopers. Like I felt more attached to the dead Federation troopers and the dead Luminoth in Prime 2 than I did with the live characters in this game. And I'm trying to figure out why that is.
I hadn't thought about that, but now that you bring that up, I would agree with you on that.
Yeah, I
What
don't
about
know why.
we haven't talked about the whole green energy thing yet?
Oh, yeah, we only talked about the crystals, but not like the reason
See,
why they exist in the game.
When you say that, it sounds like you just don't remember the name of it. But That's what it's actually
That's
called.
what it's actually
Yeah.
called. Yeah, the naming of everything in this game is terrible.
Yeah, Cybot.
Well, the bosses are actually the enemies actually have good names, but
Yes.
Yeah, like green energy, and you got flare pool and ice belt and great minds. It's like
I have a
real
short on
intuitive.
it. It's like psychic ball, psychic boost ball, psychic this, psychic that, psychic.
I do
plus,
like
psychic
that
boost.
they actually gave a little extra ability to each of her existing abilities, though.
Yeah, we'll get
from
I
a
agree with
into that one on the
perspective,
next
Yes.
category.
Yep.
One thing I mentioned, I just remembered that I mentioned this on stream because when I did my playthrough of Other M, I kept an on-screen counter for every time the baby was mentioned because everyone's like, "Oh, this baby is so talked about so much," and I was like, "Oh, maybe I should turn it into a drinking game." At the end of Other M, I think it was only at 12, so it wasn't that many. But afterwards, playing 4, I was like, it'd be interesting to do this. Play through 4 for every time the word psychic gets mentioned. And if you did a drinking game on that, you'd probably drink yourself to death.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Don't do it, everyone.
Only do it if you're James.
It'll make the game more interesting for sure.
All right. We'll go ahead and move on to our last category. And that is talking about gameplay, abilities, enemy design, enemy AI, all of that stuff that has to do with like the actual gameplay. So I'll let anyone who wants to take it.
I guess I might as well go ahead first. As a general number, I actually think I'd probably give it like an 8. I actually like the general gameplay. It's pretty much Prime. My biggest complaints was mainly from my own muscle memory from the Prime 1 and 2 because of the tank controls from that era. And the way this one was designed around jumping and shooting with the shoulder buttons instead.
Mhm.
So there was a bit of a growing pain for me for doing that. I did like the psychic beam. So the implementations in it, like on the first plant boss.
I did like Psychic Beam as well. Every single time I got stuck in the game, I learned this after a couple times. Like, when in doubt, use Psychic Beam. Because every time I got stuck, I figured it out. I'm like, oh, it was Psychic Beam
I
was
had
the
the same
solution.
problem. Yeah, I had the same problem.
I mean, and the bosses are really good because I remember the Volt Forge boss being the thing that picks up the floor tiles and protects itself with it.
Oh yeah,
With the floor
it looks
tiles.
like a giant like atom.
Yeah, and that was a really good fight. That was a really good fight. Just think it took a little too long in normal because I know in hard they upped
Takes a
the
lot longer and hard.
yeah. So I think they probably could have lowered the health there, but that's more of a nitpick because it just seemed to last a little too long because I wasn't getting touched by anything because I'm pretty decent at Prime games. So, that was a really good boss. I think the best boss was probably the volcano boss.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
That one was
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
cool. I did like what they did with that one because that's very different than any of the other bosses in the franchise.
Definitely, and then whenever you think you beat it, and then you had to actually shoot a psychic beam down its throat.
It took me a couple times to get it because I kept screwing up.
Actually, the only time I've died in the game was because I didn't realize I had to do that. I was trying to figure out where to go next, and then he got himself back up, and I didn't realize it, and then he ended up hitting me with his beam attack, and that ended up killing me.
That happened to me on the first time, and then I figured out that I had to do the psychic beam, but it took me a couple tries to get it down his throat without hitting the walls.
That was definitely. I think that was the only time I died. One time, in the final boss, one of the friendly AIs died.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that when I get around to it.
But like I said, the bosses are great. Bosses are generally great. My biggest problem with the Silex boss is that first phase lasts way too long. And if my biggest change would be to that Silex fight and make that first phase into multiple phases, where each phase is based on one of the NPCs
That's
strengths.
a good idea.
Because then each section would be shorter, but you would have each character doing something specific. Like you'd have one section for Miles. Maybe he found a way to use the power core from the mech to do something against Silex, and you had to keep him from getting hit or something. And then like the next phase would be with the sniper, and you would just have to find a way to use the grapple lasso to keep him in place so that he would actually hit Silex, and then you could shoot him. and then like the next phase could be the phase that we saw in the main game, or in the game where it would just be you, Armstrong, and Duke. And then it'll be like the same fight as what's that first phase, but you only do one part of it. And then
They just
after
didn't
that,
have enough development time to build that. I don't know.
they only had like 8 years.
Yeah.
Well, probably 4 years, but still. But and then the last part would of course have the robot helping you against Silex. And then after that, that's whenever you get teleported to the final fight. And I did like that final fight, especially whenever Silex went into his lockjaw and stole one of my energy tanks. Like he stole the actual energy tank.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
I was like, you little cheap bastard, get back here.
I am
Yeah.
glad that the teleport section didn't last long, because the using the right stick to aim is not that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're
That
not
was
using
wild.
motion controls, that
It
part
works way
is-
better on Prime 3 with the Ridley fight.
Yes.
Oh, that's what they were going for.
Falling fight, which
Yeah.
I like that one because I was like, that's very interesting and new.
Gandalf,
Something I hadn't
Balrog
seen before
fight.
in a prime game. So, or just
Yeah.
any game in general. I thought that was a really cool fight.
And I did like how there were some areas that it felt quiet, because not every area needs to have enemies in a Metroid game.
Mhm.
There were certain sections like that, so it definitely felt like the world was actually like it existed, not like just just throw some enemies in this room in every room.
Hmm.
So, from a gameplay perspective, I thought this was a really great addition to Prime. And also whenever most of the boss fights that use the right stick to aim, it actually worked better off. Unlike the Silex, the middle point of the Silex fight.
Okay. Yeah, that was one thing that in Prime 3, like the motion controls were way better because having to like lock onto a character and then use the right stick to aim while you're locked on, and it was like it was super slow. I think I turned the sensitivity.
I think there's a way to use
that.
gyro, but it always kept on messing up for me.
But yeah, I was using one of these.
I've never gotten
controllers,
used
so
to. I've never gotten
couldn't
used to
use motion
gyro
controls.
I mean, if you have a actual Nintendo controller, it does have gyroscopes in it, so you could use gyro controls with a Pro controller. It's just I'd never gotten it to work like some people can, because I know some people will play Splatoon with the gyro controls.
I have a third party one, so I don't think mine has gyro controls. But
Gotcha.
I mean, I have my Joy-Cons, but I wasn't going to switch controllers just for
And
one little
Joy-Cons
second of a
were-
fight.
The Joy-Cons have never been comfortable for me. They're too
Yeah.
small.
I think I
Switch
tried gyro a little bit with the Pro controller, but I think it just ended up screwing me up, so I turned it off.
So
Because
But yeah, and
when
definitely
I'm playing a shooter, I go for the
psychic
stick by
abilities.
default. So
Sorry.
go ahead.
I was just saying, I was just going into the psychic abilities, because like adding a new way of using your abilities was actually pretty cool. It took me a while to figure out that cannon thing, because I didn't actually read that the first one you got which was a psychic bomb. I didn't read that you could hold it and then it would. So because of that, I was stuck there for like 30 minutes trying to figure out how to get the cannon to turn on.
do I need to get the Boondock meme that says you need to read?
I know, but that was the moment I learned. Okay, I'm going to need to read every single one of these abilities now, not just the carbon copy.
I thank you for mentioning that, because one thing that along those lines is that sometimes you can use your psychic bomb on ports that need bombs, and other times you can't. It was like completely arbitrary. It's like I should be able to use this to activate that button or whatever, and I don't, because it's like, no, you need to do it where you go into morph ball mode and do it. But there was like no explanation on why I can do it on some and others I can't.
I mean, if they just made it so that there was like a cage around the bomb
Exactly.
slot, that's all you would need.
So, what about you, Bongo? What do you got what do you want to talk about on your thoughts on this aspect of the game, or these aspects? Because we're grouping a few of them together.
Yeah, definitely the gameplay, the combat was probably the best part of it. There were some drawbacks for sure. I like the movement. I like that you could now dash both forward and back. I liked the additional like psychic aspects of the abilities, like the little ball slingshot,
That was cool.
the grapple and the lassoing and grappling around felt really fun. I wish there was more of that in the game. The shots, the different beams, they were really cool. I just wish there was more different types of enemies that made them more situational, like
how Prime 2 did it with the light and dark
exactly,
beams.
or even Prime 1 with the different colored space pirates. Like, mix and match the enemies so that there's a bit more, thought that goes into the encounters. Like in the mines, that was a fun section. It was crazy, it was intense, but it really was just like charge up that thunder shot and just go to town. And then when you run out, you just spam your regular blaster.
Ever since Prime 1, they kind of moved away from using the beams in that way, because every star beam is still good enough even to at the end of the game.
Yeah, and like the robot enemies, like again, we mentioned at the beginning, I wish they had a dedicated button for the missile, because there was like an extra step to do the ice shot missile combo.
Yes.
I like that the enemies hit harder. I actually felt like I died to the Omega Griever twice. That was my favorite boss.
That was a good boss too.
That one,
actually having to get under him and actually use your bomb to push yourself up and hit him like that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah, and then like just the precision shooting that you needed to do while like you're fighting him. Yeah, that was definitely my favorite boss. The bosses were the best part of the game. I think they were a little bullet spongy. It's way worse in hard mode, and they hit harder. So if you make 2 mistakes, like, you're dead, and then you have to start the fight all over again. And
I feel like
continue
their
to
health
hold
values
down.
in normal probably should have been their hard health values.
Yeah, and also like as far as I know, there's no real shot that does more damage to them or less damage to them.
So it's just a longer fight.
It's just spamming the button and shooting the thing. Like in hard mode, I died to that electric boss at the very last minute, and it was just like, but
thank you for that, Lois.
Yeah, overall though, the combat was a lot of fun. I liked that the Grievers like could swat away your missiles, or you had to actually think about like when to actually shoot at them, because if they were just kind of coming at you, they'd dodge. I just wish there was more. More various kinds of enemies, and also different mix and matches, because I can't help but compare this game to Halo. And like Halo doesn't have a huge enemy palette as well, but the different situations you find yourself in and the different combinations of the enemies kind of make each section feel a bit different. And there was a little bit of that in this game. But obviously it's not up to the par of Halo Combat Evolved. So
I think as long as the current team at Retro is the one that makes the next one, I think we'll be fine. As long as we don't have Takanabe doing his thing.
Yeah, but they really do need to give like me incentive to use different shots. I almost like want them to have to make it so that each shot has a different ammo, just so that like it forces you to go into these situations and be like, okay, I have a ton of this ammo, a ton of that. This ammo is going to affect this enemy in one way. This ammo is going to affect him in another way. How can I combine this?
A slightly more complicated version of Prime 2.
Yeah. Well, like in hard mode, when you get to the Volt Forge, like it's a huge difficulty spike. Those Cybots kill you in like 3 hits. And before you even have a shot, like you got to take out a few waves of them, which is a huge difficulty spike. But even when you do have the ice beam, and then the fire beam, like the fire beam actually does damage over time. So like when you're with Tokabi, rather than focus on one Griever at a time, you spread it out, shoot him with the fire beam, and then hit them with the ice beams to delay them because there's just too many. Like, you know, there was a little bit of it. So like but that was only in like the harder difficulty. In easy mode, you can just spam the psychic shot and you're fine. So overall, I'd give it, I don't know, I give it a 7 for combat and gameplay. I like that there were some puzzles that felt very Metroid Prime-ish, but they were all in isolation. It wasn't like, I don't know, they were stuck, these puzzles that I loved from the original Prime games. They felt like those, but they were stuck in this linear level. So yeah, there's definitely some strengths to it, and I played it, and I'm playing it twice, and I'm having fun. I don't know if I'll ever play it again, but
and then that's why I'm waiting for retro achievements, because then I'll have to play it for two times there.
Yeah,
that's probably when I'll play it on hard mode as well.
Yeah, but in a kind of a related note to the gameplay, playing it through again, you do realize how, like, if you just cut out the bits of like the rid of the desert, there's not a lot of game. It feels like there should be more game. I almost want them to be like, do away with the desert, make it straight up in the same fashion as Halo, like episodic levels. take us through. Just do that.
I mean, I wouldn't mind that as a spinoff, but don't do it as a Prime game, because those are supposed to be still like Metroidvanias.
And one of the things I was going to mention when you mentioned Halo is, one of the things that they've always said about the Metroid Primes is it's, even though it's a first-person game and you do shoot things, no one considers it a first-person shooter. Yeah. They call it a first-person adventure.
Yeah, but I wouldn't even. That's the thing, though. I'm at the point now where I wouldn't consider this a Metroid game. It's very close to being a Metroid in name only type of thing, almost like a spin-off, I would say. If they had just called it Metroid Beyond to like taper people's expectations, but it's not a Metroid. It's not really a Metroidvania. If you do want to call it a Metroidvania, it's in very, very small amounts. Like
it's
loosely.
My Metroidvania buddies, we have like a scale, like the loose fit to high fit of the genre, and this is definitely on the lower end of the
but
of the scale.
It would be unfair for me to dock it points because of that. Like me grading on something it's not, like that's not what I'm. All the, like, if I were to dock points from it, it's from things that I would dock points from in any game. It's so I'm not saying it's bad because it's not a Metroidvania. I'm saying I think it's not the best game because of other reasons. So.
I dock it points for that because it is a Metroid Prime game, and I have a certain expectation of what comes with a Metroid Prime game, and it fails on a lot.
Here's
of
the thing,
aspects.
though. For me, Prime 3 already ruined that.
See,
yeah, it ruined it for a lot of people. You weren't the only one. Like a lot of people.
I mean, I still like Prime 3. It's just that it wasn't a Metroid game to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I still enjoy Prime 3 for what it is. It's just that it's not a Metroid.
It's the same reason why you don't like Breath of the Wild. It's to you, it's not a Zelda game because it doesn't have.
Well, it's also because it's an open world game, and it's the worst part of an open world game where it's empty and boring for the most part.
Well, I mean, you can shift the entire play style of a game series and have it work. Like Resident Evil 4, I would say is one of the best games of all time, and people, yeah, I love that.
I like
one of my favorite games.
Going back to Zelda, I like Four Swords Adventures. And that's a very different game than all of those Zeldas.
Yeah, so
that's still an enjoyable
changes.
Game.
You just have to do it well, and you have to realize it's going to be jarring. So you have to be really on your game. If you're going to change how characters behave, if you're going to change a play style, you gotta be on your game there. Otherwise,
at least Prime 4 has that skeleton for the gameplay perspective. It just needs to get the map and story right in the next game.
I agree with that.
The gameplay is always the hardest part. Is usually the hardest part. And now Neo's gone.
We lost the host.
How do we do this without the host?
Wow, it dropped me. Like when it drops you guys, I have to add it back, but it dropped me and then immediately brought me back, so I didn't even have to do anything. So that was weird.
When is it my turn? Come on now.
I was just gonna say, all right, we'll go with Lois, and then we'll finish up with my thoughts on this aspect. So, Lois, what do you got for this one?
Oh, I meant when is it my turn to get kicked out of Restream?
Oh, I can manually kick you if you want.
Okay, so I'm gonna have a little different perspective on this because I was so pissed off when it wouldn't let me pick hard mode from the start that what
Prime
I
games have
decided
never
to
allowed you
do,
to do that.
Yeah, that's not new.
Yeah.
I hate it when games don't let me do that. So what I decided to do was I would just play the entire game normally, but don't use targeting. So I did not use the ZL button to target anything, with like a few minor exceptions here where I just did it out of like reaction or whatever.
That
Or
definitely-
there's some spots where you have to do like a side dodge. I would target to do that, but only that.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't shoot while I'm targeting. So that's what I did throughout the
Self-imposed
entire,
hard mode. My goodness.
basically. And I don't think it made it that much harder though. That's the thing, because there's so much aim assist and like tracking going on
Yeah,
that
there is. Yep.
it didn't really feel hard. Still, I only died 3 times. 2 of them were against the lava boss. And the reason why the lava boss was one of the hardest in the game was because when you get there, you should from collecting those green crystals. I didn't have it, so I fought that boss without the upgraded beam, and so actually hitting him was very difficult because he's constantly swaying from side to side. So hitting him was difficult. I ended up dying there twice because of that, a combination of that, and also some of the moves that he does, or the attacks that he does, it's not super clear on how to dodge them, like that beam one.
Yeah. You got
Go
It doesn't. Yeah, you go into the morph ball. You go into the morph ball. Sometimes it'll still hit you. It hit me like 3 times when I was in the morph ball during that attack.
Didn't hit me ever.
Yeah, it was weird. But the way the thing you're standing on, it doesn't look like you'll there's like his spikes are in front. It looks like, so it doesn't look like those will protect you at all. So the morph ball didn't look like that was what you're supposed to do at first for me. So I didn't do that, and that's why I got hit a lot the first time. That's why I died. And then so I couldn't hit him. I had a hard time hitting him. I ended up using the psychic beam a lot to like do the homing tracking thing in order to beat that boss. So that one was a pain. That one was a real pain in the butt. My favorite boss though was probably what is it called? The Omega Griever in the mines.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably my favorite boss in the game. I loved that boss.
Yeah.
And if you don't use the tracking, it's actually kind of fun trying to hit him when he's moving around on the walls and stuff.
Yeah.
So I like that one a lot.
You have to basically, if you lock onto him, he can break the lock, and you still have to aim. Like
he does break the lock a lot often.
Oh, okay. I didn't experience that at all. So
because you weren't locking on.
Yeah. So that was probably my favorite. I also liked, what was the other one? Oh, the one you were talking about earlier in the Volt Forge. The electric
Zelios,
boss.
I think
Yeah,
it's called
boss.
Zelios or
Yeah.
something.
Yes, I have it
Zelios.
pulled up right now. Yes, Zelios.
Yeah, that was one that I liked as well. And there's another one in the Volt Forge actually. It's the fight with Silux in the Volt Forge. It's like a fake Silux where he electrifies the floor and you have to use the grapple beam to stay off the floor.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome.
You had to turn into Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But
was really
that
cool.
boss was also like pathetically easy, so it wasn't super impressive or anything.
I mean, it's like they tried to bring the hunters, bounty hunters into the main primes where you can actually lock on, and in the original hunters you couldn't lock on to anything because of the way that game worked.
Oh, that's
Hmm.
nice.
So
Yeah, I
it
didn't
almost
play that
felt
one,
like
so I don't know.
they brought in that mechanic as his boss fights, and they don't really work as well in a regular prime game because of lock on.
But yeah, I thought it was cool. Like you could, I don't think you couldn't shoot while you were swinging, but you could shoot while you were grappling onto a wall,
Mhm.
and I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
I think there should have been more of that in that boss fight, or just in boss fights in general. They could have put it in some other bosses too.
I did find it funny that they brought the double claw shot into Metroid.
Yeah, double claw shot.
Yeah.
That is the best. That is the best item in Twilight Princess.
Oh, I loved that.
I gotta play
when
that
I first
game.
got it. I was like,
awesome.
what would I need 2 for? Then like, oh, I'm Spider-Man.
Yep. As far as combat goes against like the normal enemies, I found the normal enemies to be kind of annoying. For most of the game, you just fight different forms of grievers for a lot of the game,
and
and
bees.
that got pretty dull after not
There
very
definitely
long.
needed to be variety, but the wolf fight was actually pretty cool too.
But you
Although
never
that
see him
lasted a
again.
little too long.
Yeah, the wolf fight was cool, but you never see him again after that.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, well, you do see them on the cliffs, but they
Oh, yeah, you can
never fight you. So
yeah,
you can
you can
actually
see
scan them again. I do like that they actually made a lot of the bosses able to be scanned like that. Like I think
after you beat 'em.
the plant boss. I think some of the bosses actually had holograms in their boss rooms that you could end up scanning afterwards.
Oh,
Yeah,
so you
there's
can't miss them.
there's an area you can go to where you can reset.
Oh, is that where you move the crystal thing?
Yep. In case
The
you miss
biggest
them.
problem though with that is that there's still 2 boss scans that were missable, and I
Yep.
missed one of them on my playthrough.
The
Because
pirate.
because I was thinking, oh, it's like Flogger where I have to scan the main body and the tentacle. Apparently, there was a third part that I had to
Look through to see what my scans are. So I got to pull that up and look at a complete list and see which ones I missed.
But that was the
So-
only scan I missed in my entire playthrough, and that's because that's the only reason why I didn't get the full 100% completion.
I completely forgot about the wolf fight. And now I'm remembering when I was streaming the game, I played through that part, and I remember saying something like, these are just wolves. We're on an alien planet. Why are they
Yeah.
here?
Well, I mean, other
they called
planets can have
wolves?
wolves.
Are they called wolves like when the scan? Like what's the
Oh,
scan?
that's a good question.
I'm
I don't
curious.
remember.
It'd be funny if it said wolfos.
And I actually kind of like how the
Wolf,
fight
yeah.
actually ends with you actually almost getting killed, because there's just so many of them.
I forget.
it's-
Is there you have to kill a certain amount, or is it just whenever your health gets low, then the cut? Then
I
the
think
cutscene
every time
kicks
I've
in?
seen that,
You can die.
when your health gets low, but I think you have to kill a
can
certain
die?
amount too.
Yeah, you can die. I've died a few times too.
Okay.
Once in easy and then twice in hard I died.
I think you have to
Okay.
kill enough, and then
A certain
eventually they
number.
start swarming you to the point where you're never supposed to be able to handle them. But you're supposed to survive until they start swarming you to that point.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
that makes sense.
I found its name. You want to know what its name is?
Oh, well, yeah. What is it?
It's gonna blow your mind. It's called a snow wolf.
Snow wolf. Oh, not
Oh
a
my
psychic
God.
wolf.
Oh my god.
He had that ready to go. I'm glad you were able to
That's
pull that up.
that's
real
not
quick.
one of those other nitpicks that just adds up.
Yeah. Yes. So I have
Um,
a-
anything else, Lowest?
In terms of gameplay and combat, not really. I mean, we talked about the Silex fight at the end. With that like the part where we're in the tunnel and the warp tunnel or whatever it is in between the phases.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like that part kind of.
Yeah, it saved my butt because you can actually restore a bunch of health and ammo in that part.
Yeah, and I was watching someone else stream it, and apparently a lot of people are not using the psychic beam.
on that part.
when-
Oh.
I don't think I ever used it on that.
Yeah, I didn't use it that
Oh,
part.
really? You didn't? You just gotta weave it through the.
Yeah, so it's like towards the end of that part where he has like these 2 laser bars and they're spinning around really quickly. You're supposed to use the psychic beam to go through it and hit them to disable them.
Oh yeah, I think I did that.
I just kept dodging him and shooting him with missiles and charge shots.
Yeah. But the other time I died was against the final phase.
Okay.
I died a lot against the first phase,
Yes.
and then I finished.
The only
But
time I
during the-
died to the first phase was because I didn't revive one of my teammates
Oh,
in time.
I died. I didn't have a problem with that.
I'm
But
gonna get
when-
into
once
that. In
I
just a
figured out
moment.
I could throw a power bomb at the dragon heads. I was like, oh, this is.
I did not know you could do that.
Yeah,
should have
you-
thought
I
of
didn't
that.
even think of that.
yeah,
I knew
if
you could throw regular bombs. I didn't know you could do it with power bombs.
Yeah,
You can do it
can.
with power bombs.
I did not know
and
that.
if you if you get them all like you can hit 2 of them pretty easily, but if you happen to get 3, like it does a ton of damage to them, and you can actually kill all of them, and you get a bunch of stuff back. That's how I was able to do it.
I wish I would have known that.
Hey, it's a reference to Super Metroid with the with turning the power bomb into a bunch of other stuff. I can't remember the name of that ability.
Are you talking about like Crystal Flash?
I think Crystal Flash.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just an extra step. You have to hit an enemy with it.
Yeah, I don't know how I managed it, but I actually didn't die during the first phase.
Oh
man.
Jeez.
I
think it's just because the way I was playing without using targeting, you have to really focus on not getting hit more than anything.
Yeah.
So it's just habits that built up over the game. So I wasn't taking a lot of damage during that phase.
Like I said, my biggest problem with that phase is it just draws on for a little too long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then if one of your partners dies,
yep, you die.
Yeah.
All right, well that's a great segue.
If you can revive them, if you can get to them and revive them, because you're not getting hit a lot, then it's probably.
Mm-hmm. So that segues well for me because I haven't really talked much about this topic yet. So overall, gameplay wise, I thought it played very much like a Metroid Prime game. I enjoyed my time with it, despite overall as a Prime game, I was disappointed in it, but I did enjoy my time with it. I thought it played very much like a Prime game. Yeah, it was annoying having to switch back and forth between like one beam and missile. It would have been nice to be able to have missiles equipped and then just switch between the 3 beam types. So I totally agree with Jay Bongo on that one. The abilities, they were very standard fare. I did like that they added the psychic ability on top of the basic abilities they already had, but I was a bit disappointed that there wasn't really anything new other than the psychic beam was probably like the biggest change in it. So I did like that. And like I said earlier, it's like anytime I got stuck, that was always the solution. So I should have thought of that sooner, but that's the one that I always forgot that I had. But agreed with what you guys said. The enemy variety was a bit lacking. I wish there would have been a little bit more different types of enemies, but I did think the enemy designs were pretty good. I didn't really have anything against the enemy designs, but I was just disappointed by the lack of enemy variety. There wasn't as much as I would expect. Enemy AI I thought was pretty good, with the exception of one, which I'll talk about in a moment. And the bosses were all, I thought, yeah, as you guys are saying, I agree that the bosses were probably one of the best parts of the game. They were all pretty good. I think Zelios was the coolest looking in my opinion. It was the best one looking aesthetically. That was the one that picks up the floor plates and stuff to protect itself in Volt Forge. That was a really cool looking one. But I think Feneros, which is the flare pool boss that you ride around on, the whole boss fight is basically on the hover bike until the last phase. That was my favorite one because that was really cool. It reminded me of the twin mold fight from Majora's Mask, but just on a motorcycle. So I thought that was really cool, having a vehicle boss fight, which obviously that's a first since there weren't.
Well, they had 2, but that other one was okay. It just that one dragged out way too long.
The one out in the middle of the sand crater. Yeah. That one's not like a main boss. That's almost more like an optional. Although I'm pretty sure
you needed it for a mech boss.
Okay, so it was required, but it's not exactly like a main. It's like a side boss essentially. So I thought that was really cool. And then the last phase of the fight, and you have to down him and then shoot down his throat, was really cool. So Feneros was my favorite of the bosses. When it comes to the combat of the game, by far my biggest complaint, and I raged about this on my final stream while I was streaming this game, was the first phase of the Silex fight at the end. The final boss fight at the end of the game is one of the worst designs of a boss fight like almost ever. I hated the first phase so much. The second and third phases were fine. I had no issue with those. But the first phase was one of the worst boss fights I've ever fought in my entire life, because multiple times I probably died. I say that in air quotes. I lost the fight to absolutely no fault of my own. There's literally nothing I could have done to stay alive, because up until the final boss fight of the game, I thought my squad mates were invincible because not once did they ever go down. So I just thought they were invincible. There was one time where they went down, but I didn't bother reviving them. And I just thought they could stay down forever until you revive them, because I finished that combat encounter where they went down and then they revived themselves and I didn't need to go revive them. So I just thought they stayed in like a down state until you go and revive them. It wasn't until the final boss fight that I found out that not only will they essentially bleed out, they can actually die. And if any one of them dies, you fail the fight. And as you said, the first phase of that boss fight is so stupidly overly long. He's way too bullet spongy. And because this one attack that he does where he like puts out these tentacles and spins around like 2 or 3 times, this is the only part I had a problem with the friendly AI, is typically they'll jump and it'll go underneath them, but sometimes they don't and they'll go down. And if it comes back around and hits them, which is like, the sweep is pretty fast, so it'll go all the way around the arena in a couple seconds. So if they get hit down by the first one, they'll automatically get hit by the second one and immediately die, and you fail the fight. That happened to me so many freaking times when I was like this close to finishing the phase, and this fight was so overly long because he's so bullet spongy. I hated this boss fight with a passion because there's literally nothing I could have done to stop them from dying. So this boss fight needed some major reworking. So with Dude's idea of splitting it up into phases would have been way better. So that is by far my biggest complaint of the entire game when it comes to combat, is that first phase of the final boss fight was atrocious, because there were times where I was able to go and revive them, but there were other times where it downed them and killed them like immediately, and there's nothing I could have done. And with how long this boss fight is, and you have to start the whole freaking thing over again to no fault of your own, was absolutely infuriating. I don't even want to think about how frustrating this boss fight would be on hard when I was just doing it on normal. So that was by far my biggest and really the only issue I had with the game combat wise, and that infuriated me to no end. I was raging at that part because that was trash design. So
I will say, since I played without targeting, hitting the heads that you were supposed to aim for was kind of annoying because they're like constantly moving.
Even with lock on, it's still hard to hit.
Yeah, it was still annoying with lock on.
I really wish that I had seeker missiles for that phase. But no seeker missiles in this game. So, and I do see a couple new face, one new face I've never seen before, and a returning face in chat. Eamon Oni, welcome, says he made it. Just got the time wrong.
Eamon's a regular on my streams. Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you, Eamon.
Thanks for hanging out.
Crazy landlord.
Why do I want to say moo?
Wrong person.
Yep.
Crazy landlord says
looks
Twilight
like
Princess,
a similar name.
another game I still need to finish. Absolutely, Twilight Princess is fantastic. My second favorite
Zelda
game.
It's my favorite. Go check our top 5 Zelda games.
Yes. So, and then Nerdporoil's here. What's up? He's the reason why I was introduced to J Bongo. So again, thank you, Nerdporoil, for introducing me to J Bongo. Says Nerdy Neo still calls Metroid games Metroidvanias. Well, they are, but I don't. I don't call. Yeah. He's always giving me a hard time, but yeah. So overall gameplay, I would give it probably like an 8. Abilities, I'd probably give like a 7. Enemy design, probably like a 7. Enemy AI, was fine. I'd probably say like 8. But yeah, just that one final boss fight, I hated the first phase of that boss fight because it was just so god awful. When I finally got moved on, I was like, there better be a checkpoint. So it probably took me like 7 or 8 times to get to past the first phase, just because I think I only died once. Every single time was because one of my stupid teammates got down and then immediately killed. And then I was like, I better not have to start from the beginning of the fight. Thankfully, there is a checkpoint that starts you at the beginning of the like warp tunnel phase, and you can actually restore a bunch of health and ammo, which was really helpful. And then the final phase of that fight, I actually really enjoyed that one. It's just the only thing that my only issue with the final phase of the boss fight is, why are we all of a sudden in this like parallel fake dimension out in the middle of space with this random platform.
Yeah.
It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever why or how we're here or why we're in space with this just one, final destination platforms from Smash Brothers, and we're having this final boss fight here. Makes no sense whatsoever.
That means the Final Destination has become canon to Metroid, not to any other franchise.
Seriously. So that's my only issue with the final phase. I rather enjoyed the final phase of the boss fight, and after I got to that phase, I think it only took me like 2 more tries to beat him. And it's because I came into that fight with relatively low health. So fortunately, I was able to regain a bunch of health in that tunnel phase, because if you do die in the 3rd phase, you do have to redo the tunnel phase in phase 2, but that's actually beneficial because you can restore health and ammo. And then I think on my 3rd attempt, I finally beat the final phase. But that's kind of my summation of all of those final aspects of the game.
I had a couple more things.
Go for it.
During the final phase, when he does that attack that steals the energy tanks, what did you guys do to avoid getting hit by that?
I got hit by it every time. I thought you were supposed to just shoot him. Finally, on the time that I actually beat him, I figured out that you're supposed to go in Morphball mode and bomb him to get him to drop it.
Yeah, that's what I did.
I actually figured that out immediately.
I was just trying to shoot him. I'm like, how much damage does this guy take? And then like on the 2nd or 3rd attempt, I'm like, let's try this. And then I got it back, and I was like, and I think it restores your health when you get the energy tank back. So
how do you avoid it? Were you able to avoid it, Lois?
I don't know if it's possible.
So
I only got hit by it once.
I don't know if it's actually like meant to be possible to do this, but the first thing that I instinctively went to avoid it was to use the boost ball to get away from him when he charges. But he will still hit you if you try to do
too. And I still got hit. I'm like, how are you supposed to dodge this?
Yeah, and that was like the main reason why I died the first time.
That was an interesting concept, because nothing's ever stolen an ability from you before, except for at the beginning of the game when you traditionally lose all your abilities. Although I guess you could say the Ing stole all your abilities, but that's a little bit different.
So in the second time I fought that, the thing that I did, I tried using the normal morph ball bombs to like hit him when he charges at you. But I couldn't time it properly, so what I ended up doing was using a power bomb, and then he would get hit by that when he charged at me.
Okay,
let's try that once I get there in hard mode.
Yeah, I think that might be the most reliable way to do it, but yeah, that move's super hard to avoid otherwise.
Yeah, I don't think you're meant to be able to dodge that one. I think he's supposed to steal your energy tank.
And then another thing, this is unrelated, but I actually liked a lot of the spider ball sections in this game.
Yeah, those are fun.
Spider ball was always one of my favorite abilities in Metroid Prime.
What about Spider Guardian?
I hate that boss.
I like the Spider Guardian better than the Boost Guardian.
I played that game like almost 20 years ago now. So I don't remember. There's
an achievement for beating it under a certain time period in Prime 2. Took me a couple tries.
You basically have to beat it once up to the end and then restart it. And there's a long lead up to it. That's a poorly implemented achievement.
I'm definitely due for another playthrough of both 2 and 3, because especially 3, because I want to see how I like that one compared to 4 now, as opposed to back when I played it in like 2013 or whatever.
Do you have you could play the Prime hack version, the ROM hack one, where it
uses the mouse.
You can use the mouse, but they also have for motor controls. If you have a Steam Deck, it comes there's a version you can just download it and you're ready to go.
When I played, I'm gonna have a USB sensor bar, and I'm gonna connect a Wiimote.
That's how when I streamed Prime 3, that's what I did.
Yeah, I still have my Wii U, so I'd just play it on that probably. Going back to the spider ball. I like the spider ball, and I like what they did with it in this game, where they had like those, especially in that one of the shrines where the entire like dome ceiling lights up with spider ball tracks.
That one was cool.
Yeah,
that was awesome. Cool. I wish they had done. Yeah, I wish they had done stuff like that more.
Yeah,
because with the whole psychic thing, the possibilities for like different spider ball puzzles was completely endless. They could have done whatever they wanted with it, basically.
Yeah.
That's
they
one
only
thing I
had
could
it-
have mentioned
They only had it in
earlier.
a few specific.
Is-
What if they
and
had
that
two
was it.
psychic ball tracks that were alternating between each other? That could have been an interesting puzzle to get through.
Yeah, the another element that they took from like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom with the whole Zelda inspiration is the shrines, and that was very undercooked. They could have done so much more with that. It's like there's 5 of them. It's like you could do way more than that. So
yeah,
that was
I
very.
could swear there were 6 of them.
I think there are 6.
There's very few of them, is the point.
Yeah.
Like,
Two for
they
each
could have done
color.
a
Not
lot more.
120.
Not a bit much.
Thank
But they
God.
could have done a lot more than what they did with them.
Because 120, there's 120 in Breath of the Wild. Way too many repeats.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I will say before I don't know, Lois, are you done? Do you have something else you want to say? I have one thing to add.
No, go for it.
Oh yeah. Something I feel like the Metroid series as a whole has struggled with to do is even the best games, like, you encourage replay value, like Prime, Dread. I've replayed those over and over again. But whenever they add a hard mode, like, I like playing games on hard mode, but every Metroid game that has a hard mode, it's usually very simple. It's like the enemies deal more damage and they are harder to kill, in the sense that they have a higher health pool, and that's a very boring way of implementing hard mode, I think.
agreed.
And where Metroid really shines in its replayability is they do this in the 2D games more than, I don't think they do it in the 3D games, but in the 2D games, it's like special ending for 100%. You get a special ending for beating in under 3 hours. You better get a special ending for getting 100% and beating it in under 3 hours. And there's a special ending if you beat it in under 3 hours and only get like 5% weapons or something. Like, that's
low percentage
the
through.
hard difficulties. It's like different scenarios in which you beat the game, and there's incentives to do so.
Fusion is the best for that. There's so
right,
many.
yeah,
endings
that's
in
what I
Fusion.
was
Especially the
thinking of.
Japanese version. There's like
Zero
twice
Mission
as
also
many.
does the same thing.
Zero Mission Fusion. But really, I think for the Prime games, what it will be a better way to implement a hard mode is like give it like the Master Quest treatment, where things get reorganized.
Yes, that would be awesome.
Like Resident Evil 7, I always praise it for its hard mode, because they did that too. Like, they
Don't add
reorganized
too many enemies to the bosses like Ninja Gaiden does.
I was
yeah,
just saying, Ninja
Ninja
Gaiden
Gaiden-
does a great thing because you fight enemies that you don't on higher difficulties. You don't fight on lower difficulties.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm not a big fan of that in Ninja Gaiden, but I think Metroid Prime would be a bit better because of the way the combat is. Ninja Gaiden feels way too much like it's supposed to be. When you're fighting certain bosses, it feels like a fighting game. So adding in extra enemies is always a pain in my eyes for that.
I love Ninja Gaiden. I love those games.
Oh, I know, Jay Bongo, you're a huge fan of Ragebound. Ragebound just joined Game Pass, so I'll be playing it very soon.
Yeah, do it. It's fun. Lois, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was playing it on normal. This game in particular, I never felt like I was in danger at any point in the game, other than like the boss fights.
Yeah, I don't think I died outside of a boss fight.
Yeah, I don't think I did either. Only
And like some of the enemies do a lot of damage to you, like those turrets. The turrets somehow are like the most dangerous enemy in the game.
Yeah.
They'll kill you.
Yeah.
But to be fair, like I think there's maybe a couple instances in Metroid Prime 1 and 2. Like, I'm trying to think, are there any instances where there's some hard moments.
But not many.
I've always said, because a lot of people were talking about like when Dread came out, it's like, oh, it's the hardest Metroid ever, which I agree. But Metroid isn't typically known for being a very difficult franchise.
Difficult in combat. It's meant to be more of like an exercise in like navigation and making your way through a maze and exploration.
There's only a couple areas in the Prime game in the earlier Prime games where it feels like that.
Mm-hmm.
With outside of bosses.
Yeah. Dread mode is fun though. If you don't want to take that up, Dread mode's a ton of fun.
I haven't beaten hard mode on Dread yet.
I'll wait until Retro Achievements adds Dread to the.
I don't think I'll ever do Dread mode, but once it gets Retro Achievements, I'll definitely do hard mode. But yeah, overall, I thought Prime 4 was pretty easy, but I've heard that hard mode is way more difficult than it probably should be.
It is.
I think what made this more noticeable for me in this game is that there's so many enemies all over the place, and they're constantly going after you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it feels that way because of the way you backtrack in the game. You're constantly running into respawning enemies, and then I feel like you have more normal enemy encounters than previous ones, but I could be wrong because I haven't played them in a while.
Actually,
No,
I'd say
I had that feeling today too. Actually, when I was playing, I was going back through and I was actually thinking about that. Like,
So,
yes,
yeah,
there are some areas where you have to kill the same space pirates over and over again in the original Prime trilogy, but I don't think it was as bad as this.
Yeah, it seemed like the enemies respawn a little bit quicker in this one than they do in the other ones.
definitely.
And I know it's not a time thing; it's based on like how many rooms you get away from it. But yeah, there was sometimes like I just ran past and I'm like, I've already fought you so many times. This is annoying.
Yep.
It's just easier to run past you.
Yeah,
I mean,
than
every
to
Metroid
fight
game kind
you.
of has that eventually.
yeah, eventually.
I think when you leave an area, like you go to the forest, to the desert, I think all the enemies respawn.
That makes sense.
Yeah, through a transition area. But there were times where it's like I left a room and then I came back like a minute later and the enemies had respawned. I don't know exactly what the trigger is, but it definitely seemed a little bit more frequent than previous games.
But yeah, like you, I just started like running through them about halfway through the game, skipping past them whenever I could. Unless one of those turrets popped up, because then you'll take a ton of damage.
And they're very accurate. So those of you need to take out ASAP.
Lois, if you do play it on hard mode, those turrets will just nail you. I'd be interested to see what you think of hard mode.
So.
Well, I don't want to play it again.
That's not a good sign for how. Yeah, so some people online, they talk about like there's people who they point out that there's a lot of like overblownness to the negative aspects of this game, but then someone, I forget I saw say it, but like they were just like, listen, we didn't have all of this talk when Dread came out, because Dread is a well-designed game. It's a good game. It's like there's a reason why the fan base is split. It's because there's actual genuine problems with this game, and it's not just people dogpiling on or
not just the people who are never going to play it.
Yeah, exactly. And there's always going to be some of that going on with the internet. But on the flip side, you get people who think, like, you say one thing negative about it and they're just like, oh, you're not a true Metroid fan, or
yeah, because you can't possibly criticize something that you love. It automatically makes you not a fan of that. God, I hate that.
Or like, no, the game's great, and then proceeds to not give any reasons why. So it's, this, I am disappointed with this game overall. I don't know if I'll ever play it again, but
we'll get into that in just a second. We're about to wrap up. Eamon has something. He says they say that Prime 4 is the Simon's Quest to the Metroid series. I don't know much about Castlevania, so I don't know what that means. So if someone who's a fan of Castlevania, explain that one to me.
Simon's Quest, when it first came, it was an NES game. It is like they tried to make it more Metroidvania-y. So the original Castlevania was one level at a time.
Right.
And it was great.
So was 3 and 4.
Yeah. So was what?
3 and 4.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah. But Simon's Quest, they tried to make it like there's towns, but all the towns kind of look the same. All the NPCs look the same. It's the NES. It's not very. And they also had notoriously awful translation from the Japanese. So you're supposed to get hints from the town people where to go, but the English is terrible.
Okay. I don't know if that's exactly an accurate comparison.
What a terrible night for a curse.
Exactly. Yeah, that's where that comes from, because they had the day and night thing. And then there's one infamous part where you're supposed to like go to the edge of the known map, and there's a wall there, and you're supposed to go up to the wall and crouch for like 30 seconds.
Oh, is that the tornado one?
Yes, and then a tornado comes, but the hint for it was like not translated well, so nobody knew how to do it.
And was that required, or is that an optional thing?
No, it's required.
The only reason why I know about that is because there was an Easter egg for that in the game in Fernax, which is the Metroidvania, and there's an Easter egg. There's an achievement for it, and so I just looked at the achievement guide and I did it. And I was like, that was really random. And I saw people in Discord, and they're like, oh, it's because it's an Easter egg. It's referencing an old Castlevania game. Like, oh, well, I've never played it, so I wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's funny.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap up here. So the last couple things that I want to talk, have each of you go over as we wrap up the stream here is give the game an overall ranking 1 out of 10. And then rank the mainline 4 Prime games of your personal rank of 1 to 4, and then just any closing thoughts and where do you think the franchise should go from here. So, dude, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, I think I'm probably going to give it the highest rating. I'd probably give it about an 8. And
Okay.
just because I'm one of those people who's like, gameplay is king, and I saw some of these ideas coming in because of Prime 3. So that's going to go into where I'm going to be placing it. Of course, I'm going to be putting Prime 1 and 2 at top 2. I just think that Prime 2 takes way too much from Prime 1. Like, it's too much of a copy.
Okay.
That's the reason why I always put 2 under 1. But they're both great games, and I put them in my S ranking for Metroid games.
Absolutely.
But then I put Prime, then I'll put Prime 4, and then I'll put Prime 3.
Okay.
It has everything I remember. It's as linear as I remember it being as linear as this game, with the way the map design is. Of course, motion controls always tire me out. So over
That's the
time,
thing.
so.
I don't mind them. So
It still is the best implementation of motion controls, but it's still motion controls.
fair enough. So
And
yeah, what would you like to see going forward for Prime 5?
well, with the ranking system, I actually have made a tier list, and I put Prime 4 and Prime 3 in A rank, and I do put Prime 4 underneath Fusion, which is the highest A rank.
Okay. You're putting like the actual tier ranking. I was just talking about like what is your ranking of the 4 and like 1, 2, 3, and 4.
By the way, I have 5 games in my S tier for Metroid, and that's Prime 1, Super Metroid, Prime 2, Zero Mission, and Dread.
Okay.
Solid.
I can pull mine
and
up.
Fusion
here
is an
in just
A
a
rank.
second.
With them doing the way that they do the story and Fusion, it kind of pushes away the Metroidvania portion for me. That's why I kind of pushed it down to A, but it's like the A+.
Okay.
Of course,
on actual tier ranking, the only ones in S for me are Prime 1 and 2.
And for me, the 2 lowest is definitely Other M and the original Metroid.
Yep.
There he goes.
Hey, he
got it.
He got his wish. It was his turn.
But I'm with Tanabe not
hi
sticking his hands into the next Prime. I have high hopes for Prime 5, because it does seem like this Retro Studios group does at least still know what they're doing. It's just that Tanabe just decided he wanted to make too many changes again.
He also wrote it.
So
like he wrote most of the story. So that's another thing too. So all
like
of our gripes about the story is from him.
So like I said, I think I do have high hopes as long as Retro Studios is the one behind it, and as long as they get a good writer and map designer.
Okay.
No more open world deserts, please.
Agreed.
So,
all right. What about you, Jay Bongo? Give us your wrap up.
I'd give it a 5 or a generous 6. I'd say overall a little disappointed with it. If I had to rank it, I'd just rank them in number order. 1 is 1, 2 is 2, 3 is 3, 4 is 4. I'm putting 3 again. I haven't played 3 in a while. There goes Neo.
Don't worry, they can still hear you.
God.
So
yeah,
you can still keep talking about just
yeah. I haven't played 3 in a while. I started it, and I made it to the first Rondas fight, took him out, and he died in epic fatality fashion of getting impaled by an ice thing, which I thought was really dark.
They
But
try to make you like care about those characters, but they don't spend enough time with them to actually care about them.
I thought they
You
did
just see that Samus cared.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if they showed that if you cared or not, but I thought they at least gave them enough of a personality, and I don't know, I liked them. I wish they'd stuck around more, but it is kind of like you go and kill them. You don't set them free or anything. Anyway, maybe it could change if I play through the rest of 3, which I plan to do. Maybe it could shift, but at this point I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4. I think with Tanabe gone, there's some hope. I think they do need I would love it if they did some sort of maybe a bit of a retcon for that ending, because or something to make it more satisfying. Yeah, that ending though.
They could just have the opening, having those characters be in a ship where Samus meets them, and they say thanks for sending that ship to go save us.
No, yeah, I don't know.
That's all they would really have to do to retcon it.
I mean, the next game could be her going back for them.
That too.
I think that'd be good. But yeah, I'm not like black-pilled on the future of Metroid. I just hope we get another one. I hope Retro Studios hears.
It does look like the sales figures for this were pretty decent.
We get another one, and I hope Retro Studios is taking to heart all the criticisms, both and like the praises and the criticisms, and will not make the same mistakes. I think now that Tanabe's gone, we'll be okay. I think the next one's at least going to be an okay game. I just hope it doesn't take as long.
Another 18 years.
Yeah.
Well, that was because they decided
when it comes out.
The Namco build.
What was that, dude?
That was because they decided to tell Bandai Namco, yeah, this ain't working.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. That it wasn't entirely their fault. I know it didn't. There was.
And I hope they don't put that into perspective with how they're thinking of how this game performed.
Yeah.
And when they do announce Prime 5, I hope it's more closer to when it's actually ready, and they don't just like, hey, it's a logo and we're working on it, and you're not going to get it for another 8 years. It's like, don't show us until it's actually close to being ready.
I don't know if you guys talked about this before I joined, but was Tanabe the guy who didn't really care about video games and wanted to make movies?
Yes.
Okay.
He said that in the interview.
He wanted to be Kojima.
Yes, he wanted to be Kojima. I think that is I hesitate to say this because he's worked on so many games, and he's gave us Link to the Past and he gave us Link's Awakening, but I feel like that's a poor way to start.
That was 30 years ago. Get this guy out of here.
Yeah, that's true.
Link's
All right, once you start talking about movies and you're a game designer, no, get out. Get out of there. You're done. I don't want you here anymore.
At least Kojima could make interesting storylines, so it makes a bit more sense for him.
Unless you work for a studio like Quantic Dream.
Well, I just won't play your game.
Well, the next game is going to be a 3v3 PvP game.
Oh, seriously?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
We got another high guard on our hands.
Oh my goodness. That'll do real well. So, all right. And Lois, you got your tier list. I just meant, the 4 Prime games, what's your order, but you brought up your tier list for the entire franchise. So why don't you go ahead and give us your closing thoughts? What do you rank it on it out of 10 and your overall tier ranking?
Yeah, I don't know if chat can see the tier ranking very well or not, but I have Metroid Prime 4 in this.
For a moment.
Yep, I have it in the C tier, which I don't know. This doesn't really communicate very well that I'd give Metroid Prime 4 a 4 out of 10.
Let's see it.
Because when you think C tier, you think, oh, it's okay.
You're thinking like 7.
I don't know.
I don't know how to have you full screen and then have our little windows there as well.
Oh, well.
It's good though. I like to look at it like this. Wow,
For
Metroid
me-
2 up there, Dretta. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was like, whoa. I think that's the highest I've ever seen anyone rank Metroid 2.
I love Metroid 2.
I like
but it's
it,
also I'm super biased towards Metroid 2 as well. So
I like it a lot more than most people, but I've never seen anyone rank it that high.
Trying to remember where I ranked Metroid 2. I know I ranked it pretty decently.
So, all right. So you got Prime 1. Just looking at the Prime games, you got Prime 1 at the top, then Prime 3, Prime 4 in C, but you don't have Prime 2 ranked.
Prime 2 is in B, but
there
Prime
it is.
2
in B. Okay.
Prime 2 gets like a question mark out of 10 for me because it's been
so long.
so long since I played it.
Okay, but so 1, 3, 2, 4. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's good. So what would you give out of 10? What would you give Prime 4?
A 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10. Okay. So, and closing thoughts, and what would you like to see for Prime going forward?
I've had a few ideas floating around. So I don't know how this whole interdimensional thing is working, but I'm assuming that part of either Prime 5 or even if they do a Prime 6, part of the story is going to be bringing the Marines back home.
Mm-hmm.
But there's going to be a twist there that in order to bring the Marines back home, she also has to bring back Silex as well. And that's going to cause all sorts of problems. Maybe in the time that she's gone, Silex has like taken over the Marines and mind controlled them or something, and they turn on you
With
at
the
some
psychic
point.
abilities.
Yeah, there could be all sorts of interesting ways they could go. Will they? Who knows?
All right.
We can only hope.
So, all right. Well, for myself, ranking the Prime games, same as J Bongo in numbered order, 1, 2, but it's like 1 and 2 are like on par. I love them both equally, but I do think Prime 1 is a better game because I have a lot more nitpicks with Prime 2, but I still love it like just as much. Prime 3 is not that far below it. I really love Prime 3, and then there's quite a big gap, and then Prime 4 is down here below. So I think by far, my opinion, Prime 4 is by far the worst of the Prime games. I looked up what I gave it out of 10, and I originally gave it a 7 out of 10, but after the stream, I did drop it a little bit. I dropped it to a 6.5. So that is my ranking for it out of 10. But as I mentioned earlier, despite being lacking so many things that I think are essential to a Metroid game, much less a Metroid Prime game, I still enjoyed my time with it, despite having it having massive glaring flaws. I still enjoyed it. I haven't played it a second time yet, and it'll probably be a long time till I do. But for the first playthrough, I enjoyed it. There were a lot of issues with it. As we said earlier, there's so many little slight tweaks you could make, and it would probably jump it up from, like, in my opinion, as I said, a 6.5 to probably like an 8.5. Maybe like an 8. I think 8.5 might be a bit of a stretch, but there's a lot of little things that could be done that could make it a drastically better game. And there are a number of other Metroid games that I've said the same thing about that would be drastically better with some slight tweaks. But yeah, going forward, I think that they could do a, kind of like referencing Halo again. You got your original trilogy of 1, 2, and 3. Considered like the Bungie trilogy, and then there's the 3, 4, 3 trilogies, Prime, or Halos 4, 5, and Infinite. I hope it doesn't degrade that much because most people don't have a very high opinion of the 3, 4, 3 trilogy of Halo games. I think 4 gets way overly hated. I understand the hate for 5. I haven't played Infinite yet, but I think 4 was still a good game. I don't understand why people hate on it so much, but I think we could kind of have that sort of thing where we have this, the second trilogy of Metroid Prime games. We got Primes 4, 5, and 6. And through the kind of the through line of Primes 1, 2, and 3 is Metroid Prime / Dark Samus. Silex could fill that role in being the ongoing antagonist of all 3 of these potential games. I would expect a lot better storytelling and explanation of why or how. But the potential for it is definitely there. I just think they need to do a better job of explaining that and making Silex make sense as an ongoing antagonist.
Mm-hmm.
Prime 5 is going to be the Halo 5 of the series.
I sure hope not. So
Also, what Eamon Oni said, got to give Metroid Prime 4 the Tears of the Kingdom treatment. After all, time travel solves everything.
I'm assuming that's sarcasm. I hope
it
that's
is.
sarcasm.
It is, but I could totally see that being a thing in Prime 5. I could totally see them doing the whole time travel thing to just undo everything that happened.
They're gonna pull an end game.
Save the Lemorne.
I hate stories that do that.
I know.
So, yeah, I think it's got plenty of potential to keep going and get stronger. Better than ever. That's a tall order. But if they do a Prime 5, as long as it's better than Prime 4, I will be, I don't know if I'll say happy, but satisfied. I will say that, people ask me, like, what do you expect out of Prime 4? And what was it I was saying?
I expected an interconnected map.
Yes, that is,
I expect a Metroidvania.
I absolutely expect that. I think my baseline, what was it that I was saying?
I expected Metroids. Oh wait, we got them, but
I don't remember which
But
one I
why?
was comparing it to, but basically my baseline was like, as long as it's better than this, I'll be, satisfied. And
Prime Hunters didn't technically have any Metroids.
and that's the one that I never finished, so I'll have to take your word for it. But I know you're usually pretty good about that stuff, so but whether it definitely didn't live up to my expectations, that's for sure. But I wasn't overly disappointed with the game either, if that makes any sense. It's like
I think my positive idea about this game is that my expectations weren't as high as everyone else's when it first came out.
my let's see here, really whelmed. I wasn't underwhelmed, I wasn't overwhelmed, I was whelmed, if that makes sense. So I enjoyed it. Just there was a lot of big flaws. It was a bit of a disappointment, but I wasn't overly disappointed, but it also didn't live up to my expectations. But I think just like the characters, how it got a lot of hate for the characters from social media, I just think the hate towards the game overall was overblown. I still think it's worth a playthrough, especially if you're a big fan of the Metroid franchise. I would just say don't go into it with overly high expectations. So
go with my expectations.
Lowest expectations. Yes. So that so that's kind of my closing thoughts. So any last closing thoughts on the game before we do our plugs and say goodnight?
Yeah. Once they I think once they announced that it was in like development hell and that they like restarted, that's when I was just like, oh yeah, I'm not even going to, I'm not going to let this or let myself get excited or let it live in my head until it's out. So
that's kind of what I did too.
I was looking forward to the game, but I wasn't like overly excited for it. So
yep. And then when all the backlash came out before the game came out, I remember thinking, oh, there's a lot of nitpicking going on here. It can't be that bad. And then I played it and I'm like, oh,
it is that bad.
It is bad, but not for the reasons that they're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of those people who are bashing on the game probably didn't play it.
Well, and we're never going to touch it in the first place.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
So, all right. Any last closing thoughts from you, J Bongo or dude?
That's pretty much mine. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. If you want to see more my rundown of it, just watch my playthrough of it on my YouTube channel.
And he's also he's constantly putting out shorts on X.
Yeah.
So.
You can see bite-sized stuff on shorts.
So, all right. Well, thank you everyone for joining.
I have one more thing.
All right.
If you want to see me rant more about the game, watch the last 20 minutes of my live stream of the game. And then also I put out my top games of 2025 video today.
I saw Samus
super late. I know, but it's there now.
I will be watching that tonight, shortly after the stream. So,
and I do talk about Metroid Prime 4 there as well, but not nearly as much because
it wasn't in your top games of 2025.
We know.
Well, what I do is I take all the games from 2025 and I rank them all. I put them all in the video.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, you guys, thanks for joining me for this stream for, basically a maiden voyage. I've never done a stream like this before. So I was looking forward to it. It wasn't disappointing. I had a lot of fun doing this and, talking it out because this is definitely the most I've talked about this game in particular. And I don't think I've gone into this much detail on probably any game. Definitely not on my channel, that's for sure. So, dude, J Bongo, Lois, thanks for joining me for this stream. I appreciate you guys coming on here and talking Metroid Prime 4 with me. So we'll go around the horn here and let everyone plug what they got going on. So, J Bongo, what do you do over on your channel that you want to let us know that you got going on?
Yeah, I'm still fairly new to streaming, but I stream quite regularly every morning from like 4:45 a.m. to about 6 a.m. Central Time. So if you're up early and you want to hang out,
We're up late.
Central makes it even worse for me.
Yeah. But I stream to YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and I think I'm trying to do Rumble now too. Just trying to hit all the bases, and then I make shorts out of my videos. But I'm finishing up Metroid Prime 4. I'm hoping to pick up Resident Evil 9 as soon as it launches and start playing that game. But in between, I'm going to try to get into a rhythm where I stream, 2 or 3 games at a time to get some variety. But yeah, if you want to hang out, talk about game design, I love talking about game design and game design philosophy. Yeah, check out my channel. Give me a subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And I had a blast here tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. I'm reviving open mic, and I want to get you on for open mic so we can just have an open-ended discussion. And
I'm not working on my own game. Do not listen to that. Pay no attention to that.
Not right now, but I may have them do that at some point because I have plans in the future. So
I have an idea to work on, but
all right. Lowest expectations. What do you what? While you're talking here, obviously I'm gonna drop the link to your channel, and I'm also gonna drop the link to your video as well.
Okay. Appreciate it. I do streams and videos every now and then whenever I feel like it. Recently, I said I put out my 2025 video. I have a couple other videos coming up soon-ish. The one of them being the monthly series that I do called Random New Games, where I go over all the games that released within the past month, and then I rank them based on how good I think they will be. And then I usually do a stream of whatever ends up as number 1 right afterwards, or sometime afterwards, whenever it works out. So I gotta get to work on that tomorrow, and yeah, that's pretty much all that I have going on right now. I don't have as much free time as I used to, so don't expect a whole buttload of content if you subscribe. So there you go.
All right. So yeah, drop the link. So everyone's link to their channel is also in the stream description, but I'm dropping it in chat. And I also just dropped the link to Lois' video that debuted while we were live on the stream. So go check that out. I'll be watching that after the stream.
Yep.
So.
I should mention this here. I also have a Rumble and an Odyssey channel, but I only upload to them. I don't stream to them yet.
Okay.
And I don't think Odyssey doesn't work with Restream, so I probably won't be able to stream there. But
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again for joining us. Always love hanging out and chatting games with you, Lois. And dude, what do you got going on?
I'm Dude 1286. So I streamed Rumble, Odyssey, and YouTube. Also under Dude 1286 _ live,
which is also in the chat now as well.
And just finished Kingdom Hearts Final Mix on PlayStation 4. Finally got all the achievements for that. And this week I started Ninja Gaiden 2, the 360 version, and I ended up going through the first 2 levels without dying. So
nice.
And without using a single item too. So
very nice.
So, but of course, it's an easier difficulty than I'm used to because I did recently go through Sigma
on Master Ninja. He 100%ed Ninja Gaiden Sigma.
Awesome.
All the achievements, and that means I Master Ninja'd all the Master Ninja levels.
Like Master Ninja ranking, not just beat it on Master Ninja, but got the Master Ninja rank at the end of each level.
Nice.
Yep. And also beat all the missions on Master Ninja as well. And I'm going to do the same thing with Ninja Gaiden 2, although I don't have to do the Master Ninja ranking on Master Ninja 2.
Just got to beat
So-
it on that difficulty.
Yep.
There's no achievement for the
And
getting
with how
that
smooth
rank.
it's feeling, I definitely feel like I could do it a lot faster than Sigma. So hopefully it doesn't take me nearly as long, and hopefully I'm planning on streaming tomorrow night.
Okay. I will probably be able to. Oh, we'll see. I will join you if I can in the chat. So, all right. As for myself, this is my final stream of the week, but I will be back next week with, since I just finished a game on Monday for Metroidvania Monday. I just finished beating Revenge of the Savage Planet. I'm going to take a week off of Metroidvania Monday, and I will be doing Mass Effect Monday because it's been a while since I've done one. I think the last one I did was November. And I like to try to do that once a month. So I'll be doing Mass Effect Monday on Monday. So anyone who wants to join me for some Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, let me know. You are welcome to join. I have it on Xbox and Steam, so I can do either version. I just can't do PlayStation because I don't have a PlayStation. But and then on Tuesday will be the next episode of Top 5. We're doing Top 5 puzzle games, which Lois will be joining for that one. And John Connors, who I've not talked to before. I was recommended to him because someone's like, oh, he's a fan of puzzle games. So I reached out and he's like, yeah, I'll join you. So we'll be doing top 5 puzzle games on Tuesday.
I gotta check that out because I do like John.
I'll be back on Carl's channel on Wednesday for our weekly backlog battling, talking about what we've been playing lately. And then next Thursday, Dude and I should be doing our monthly achievement chasers, talking about what we achievement hunted over the course of January. So yeah, that'll do it for me. And I see, everyone who was in chat. Thanks for hanging out with us and hearing all our in-depth thoughts on Metroid Prime 4. And let's see here. Eamon says, I'll be there for you. Hopefully we can keep you awake. Just realized Bongo is streaming in about 6 hours. Iron Man Gaming. So everyone, thanks for hanging out for this stream. I had a lot of fun, and I hope you guys did as well. You all have a good night. We will see in the meantime. Game on.